There we go. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Howdy, howdy, gentlemen. Are you ready to get clowned today? Are you ready to atone for all your sins? This is it, Luigi. So welcome to yet another episode of the Great Outlaws with us, your hosts, Maple and
We're very normal about lore.
Both super normal people about lore. I basically completely redid how I structured this earlier today because I was freaking out and I was like, it needs to be perfect. So we're actually gonna start with the first part of the original lore deck because I know that some people weren't here for the OG. Oh, I should put on the music. Hold on. We need tunes. Oh, a little loud.
Yeah, so people probably don't even know what Horizon is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like as a whole.
And I think the beginning of this gives you a pretty good idea of the beginning of the first one that we did. So I was like, okay, we're gonna. I have no idea how loud this is. I was like, yeah, some people weren't here for the first one, so I'll give them the lore from the first game as a little refresher, and it'll be a good refresher for the people because it was 2 years ago, right? It was 2 years ago that we did it. It was 2022.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't a memes kid yet.
That's true. So it'll be a good refresher for everybody, and then we can hop over. I have the second one already loaded up.
And if Maple goes silent at any minute during this, it's because the guerrilla snipers got to her.
Yeah. I have so many snipers trained on me right now. So yeah, we did our first lore stream. What was it, like a week? The week before Forbidden West came out, I think.
I think so, yeah, something like that.
It was super close.
Yeah, it wasn't long before.
So we'll get through the refresh before I start getting really really off the chain and yelling at everyone. This is Maple's final stream.
Spoiler alert, she pretty much predicted the entire plot of the second game and we all laughed at her back then.
Everyone was dunking on me and I was like, I swear, I'm really confident about this. Alright, so Horizon Zero Dawn. The world in general is inhabited by humans who for the most part live primitively. They hunt, gather, and farm. They coexist with sentient machine life forms who come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Many of them mimic kind of animal-like behaviors. There are animals in the world as well, but there are machines that are in the shape of animals that act like animals too. And human society is split up into tribes who all have their own beliefs, customs, and lifestyles. So these are just a general overview of the tribes. The Noras are hunters. They have a lot of taboos against technology. Only matriarchs can enter their sacred mountain. It's home to their goddess, the All-Mother. It's a large metal door that they can't enter. The Karja worship the sun. They have a system of writing, which a lot of the other tribes don't. They have a very strict class system, and their whole thing is they want to civilize the other tribes. They're kind of assholes.
Of course, they can write, so...
The Oseram, I think of them as kind of like the dwarves of the
Pretty
Horizon
much.
world. They're made up of groups of family clans. They're craftsmen and metalworkers. They scavenge ancient technology. They love drinking.
They drink a lot.
big drinky boys. And then the Banuk, which I would classify myself as, are isolationist mountain folk, maple adjacent. I wrote that 2 years ago and I didn't even get to that part before I made the "this is what I would classify myself as" joke. They're hunters and shaman. They worship the blue light from the machines, and they kind of revere machines. So they're these kind of, these like mountain folk that stay away from the other tribes for the most part.
And they have the cooler armor too.
Yeah. That's true. The machines are animal-like creatures who come in all shapes, sizes, and behaviors. They're hunted by humans to scavenge parts for use in technology, weapons, armor, etc. But in recent years, as the game is revving up, they've grown increasingly hostile towards humans in a phenomenon known as the derangement. They also somehow replenish their numbers despite not reproducing naturally. The Old Ones were an ancient civilization whose history has been lost to time, with little remaining of them but their ruins and the technology that's sometimes scavenged from those ruins. It is unknown how their civilization fell and formed the tribes of the current day. The story of Horizon Zero Dawn is cursed baby Aloy.
Look at those graphics.
I remember when I started the game and I was like, am I sure about this? This cursed baby Aloy is found outside the All-Mother in the Nora's Sacred Mountain. Aloy! They're unsure if she is a blessing from the goddess or a curse from the machines. They freak out and they exile her.
Yeah, exactly, because since they're a very matriarchal society and she doesn't have a mother, it's like bad.
Yeah, they're always like motherless.
Yeah.
As a young girl, she falls into some Old One's ruins and she finds a piece of old technology called a focus, that's this, which helps her scan objects for information and access data and audio files from the Old Ones. So she basically gets... She's a little bit more in touch with old technology than most people because of that. As an adult, she's almost killed by an eclipse attack on her tribe. The eclipse is like a... I would kind of classify them as like a little bit of a terrorist group, but like mostly made up of Karja people. They leave her body in the Sacred Mountain, since it's a sacred Nora right to die near one's mother. And they kind of are like, well, she doesn't have a mother and she came out of the mountain, so that's the closest thing you're gonna get. When they do that, she activates a hologram of a woman who looks like her but older. When she approaches the All-Mother door, it activates and scans her, recognizing her genetic... I guess her genes. Her genetic code.
Yeah.
But produces an error. She's 99.47% match, so it produces an error.
It's because it was corrupted.
Then a man named Silence contacts her through her focus, warning her that the cultists attacked her tribe with the intention of eliminating her. They're working under the orders of an entity named Hades. She sets off on a quest to learn why and who the woman in the hologram is. Her mother or another ancestor? Question mark? So that's kind of the setup for the game. But we're getting right into the truth.
I love the next one.
AKA Jeff Bezos' apocalypse.
Yeah.
By the mid-21st century, human society was extremely technologically advanced. Tech companies and other huge corporations became big enough to become sovereign entities capable of controlling territory and waging war on one another. This caused a lot of widespread pollution and displacement, record unemployment due to automation, constant wars due to ease and access to war robots, so the world kind of sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't a great place.
Like, imagine if like Amazon and Google could claim territory, and so they just started having wars with each other.
Imagine if Jeff Bezos started fighting with Elon Musk.
with robots.
With robots, yeah.
So Faro Automated Solutions, which is one of the big tech companies, a tech company that makes computers, phones, etc., began producing war robots that are fully autonomous, self-replicating, and self-fueling by consuming biomass from their environment, because that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Yeah, like, how could this go wrong?
A glitch caused the robots to stop responding to commands, acting autonomously through their protocol to consume and replicate, depleting the environment and spreading destruction. No backdoor or emergency off switch was implemented for cybersecurity reasons, and hacking them would take decades to brute force. So in 15 months, Earth would be devoid of life, sterile, and uninhabitable.
Let's go!
Let's go! Sterile and uninhabitable, let's go!
Just how we like it.
Yes. So basically they're just like faced with, oh, we're dumb, we made this too powerful thing that we can no longer control, and we've destroyed the world.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we basically made like this super strong machine that can survive on its own, and we didn't implement any safety measures to stop it. Great idea.
So Dr. Elizabeth Sobek looks familiar, right? From the picture earlier. Spearheads Project Zero Dawn. It's a large series of underground bunkers with cloning and production facilities. She basically knew that they were done. They were like, there's no coming back from this. We can't brute force this thing. This thing's gonna take decades to brute force, and we have 15 months left. That's not a good timeline, and we're not gonna get a miracle. So she basically prepares for not to survive, but for humanity to die off, and she prepares for kind of the next civilization. So after all life on the planet goes extinct, an advanced AI, Gaia, would brute force the encrypted shutdown codes on the swarm. Gaia would then produce terraforming machines to clean the atmosphere, detoxify water and soil, and slowly return the atmosphere to livable conditions. Once livable conditions are achieved, Gaia begins cloning and introducing humans and animals back into the ecosystem. So the humans would be raised in the bunkers by the AI, which would educate them with basically like a big history of the world that it would have access to. So this is Gaia, the AI who was built for this purpose. Her functions: Minerva's there to brute force the shutdown codes, Ether cleans the air, Poseidon cleans the water, Hephaestus produces the terraforming machines, Artemis clones and releases animals, Demeter clones and replants flora, Eleuthia clones and raises the humans, Apollo is an archive of human history to educate the new humans, and Hades is the failsafe to revert the terraforming back to a blank slate if something goes wrong. So if she basically starts planting stuff and things don't take, and it's just going to be a not good atmosphere, Hades can basically put everything back to blank and she can start over. So Apollo was there as this history of the world with all knowledge of humanity. But Ted Faro, the CEO of the company who built the robots that eventually became the Faro Swarm, obtained the highest security clearance and deleted the entire archive.
Woo! So Library of Alexandria moment.
Yeah. He was like, well, what he said, yeah, here it is. His reason for it, he was like, oh, society's history and knowledge are a disease, and it could make the new humans repeat the mistakes that we made. The probable actual reason is he's an asshole that didn't want future humans to know that he ended the world.
Mm-hmm. Most likely reason.
Most likely he was embarrassed and a jackass. So
he was kinda Delulu.
A little Delulu. And we'll get back to him, because there's more stuff. So Hades, one of the subroutines, the one that wipes the slate blank, around 750 years after Minerva successfully shut down the Pharaoh swarm, an unknown signal transmits to Gaia and turns her subroutines into individual independent AIs. So basically Gaia has all these subroutines and all of a sudden they can all think for themselves and have their own distinct personalities. Hades, now an independent AI, begins its mission of returning the Earth to a blank slate because he's no longer bound to Gaia's will, basically. Gaia realizes what's going on, that he's just gonna do his own thing even if this is a good atmosphere, and she self-destructs so that he can't use her hardware to return the Earth to a blank slate. So Hades says, okay, well, if you're not gonna let me use you, I'm gonna get Minerva, and I'm going to use Minerva's codes to reactivate the swarm and use that to take out the sphere and reduce everything to a blank slate. Woo-hoo! All because of the signal that came from somewhere. So after exploding herself to stop Hades, but knowing that Hades will continue to find a way to extinguish life, Gaia creates a clone of Elizabeth Sobek, who would be able to access the system due to her genetic fingerprint. She hopes the clone will have the same strength and curiosity as the original Elizabeth, so that she'll find the message and stop a second apocalypse. Hades obviously wants her dead, because she, she's key to Gaia's plan to make him not do things. Elon deleting tweets moment. So Silence is the one who actually found Hades after Gaia's self-destruct. He's the ultimate lore hound. He wants to discover the secrets of the ancient world. He actually created the Eclipse occult that serves Hades, but he now works against it because Hades realized he's kind of a dangerous guy who will do anything to learn stuff, and he's like, yeah, this isn't a good look for me anymore. I want this guy dead. So he turns against Hades and helps Aloy. It's unknown what tribe he comes from, or where he comes from. He has some like Banuk like physicality to him, like the Banuk implant themselves with technology like this, but they don't even really know where he came from. They're like, oh, he claimed he came from another Banuk tribe to the north, but they don't know him, and he just kind of showed up, and we don't really know who he is. So he helps Aloy defeat Hades, but he definitely has his own agenda. Whompst is he? Whompst does he want? All questions we're still asking.
Real.
So the end of Horizon Zero Dawn is that Aloy successfully stops Hades so far from reactivating the swarm. Gaia isn't rebuilt yet, but Silence finds Hades and binds him, wanting information on ancient humans and information on who sent the signal that activated it. So now we can swap over to the Wiz. Thank you for the subscription. Now we can swap over. I can actually scroll on to the Forbidden West.
Woohoo!
So after the events of Horizon Zero Dawn, the Earth's biosphere is rapidly deteriorating without Gaia's functions there to manage Earth's environment, and due to some of her former functions going wild. So basically after she explodes, like Demeter and Poseidon and all of her subroutines, they all have their own stuff going on, and they're just kind of doing what they think they're supposed to do. But because they're not part of a larger system that's working together, stuff is getting a little out of control. Like, Poseidon is flooding formerly Las Vegas. and which is the plant one?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Demeter. Demeter is just like making a bunch of plants that are choking out everything else, and they're not quite right. So Gaia is like, okay, we gotta get and reintegrate my functions so that we can, you know, fix stuff before things get too off track and we have to wipe the slate clean again. So Aloy travels across the Forbidden West, locating these subfunctions and reintegrating them back into Gaia to help her regain control of it. I do know it's the Greek gods, but I forgot what Demeter did.
Imagine remembering the old Greek gods.
So, an
Wow, the typo.
unforeseen problem. Unforeseen? Maybe by
You're
some
missing an
people.
E.
Can't. Unforeseen spelling error?
Yeah. There we go. Come on, Maple, you gotta look professional.
An unforeseen problem? A group of highly technologically advanced humans appear with a girl who heavily resembles Aloy, another Sobek clone. These strangers turn out to be Far Zenith, a group of billionaires who left Earth on their ship, the Odyssey, to colonize the Sirius system.
Remember those names, guys.
They've returned to Earth and are also seeking out Gaia's modules, putting them at odds with Aloy. So they basically show up and they're like, we want Gaia too. We're gonna take a quick second.
Here it comes.
We're gonna take a quick second to watch an educational video. It is not properly cropped on my screen. I like that Corne is in my suggested. Of course she is.
All those VTubers.
All VTubers all the time. Light mode, leave me alone!
I swear it didn't work on this game.
Alright, a quick educational video.
Be ready, guys.
Just a little bit of a recap. It's 8 minutes long. It's a little bit of a recap of stuff that happened in Horizon Forbidden West.
Maybe you can help me make sense of something. A while ago, I had a run-in with a group of strangers who tried to kill me. They had machine servitors and a,
I'm gonna eat my soup while we're watching.
of Elizabeth Sobek with them.
Yes, this was recorded by your focus.
Do you know who they are?
The answer to that question is related to the extinction signal that woke Hades, prompting my predecessor's self-destruction.
The extinction signal? Okay, that sounds ominous.
So the Odyssey, we never see it. So the Odyssey, let me back up. So the Odyssey is a spaceship. It was originally being built by like 5 different nations who are all coming together for a project to basically try and go out into space and try.
It's gonna be a colony.
Yeah, go to another planet, start a colony, populate it, because they sort of knew at that point, like, you know, Earth is kind of screwed, and so they were like, this is our chance to start fresh somewhere else, but then the project falls apart, and they basically abandon the ship in like low Earth orbit, but then when things start getting a little rowdy with all the machines, this group named Far Zenith, who is basically a secret society of rich dudes, buys up the project and says, we're gonna keep it going, we're gonna finish it. And so they buy up the project, and they're basically, they still say in all the PR, they're like, oh, well, we're just doing the mission, we're still just trying to repopulate other worlds. Like, you know, this isn't like our lifeboat off the planet or anything. Don't worry about it. But coincidentally, the head count of the crew on their Far Zenith mission matches how many Far Zenith members there are. They say around 70 for both. So coincidentally, the number of people who are in the Far Zenith Society just happens to match the number of crew members on the lifeboat leaving Earth. But they also, in one of the data points, it says that they already determined a planet that they were going to head to. So we don't know if the ship actually, if they did fake the telemetry readings, we don't know if the ship actually made it there. And if they did make it there, like, what's the society look like now? Is there a society there? And they would obviously be way more advanced than everybody on Earth who had all of their knowledge of technology taken away. This society would still have Apollo. They would have, you know, their elders who took off with the ship to teach them stuff, and they would have that technology intact that they left with. So they would be way more advanced. So I don't know if they would have, and I know it's just like a visual representation of it, but when they show the signal, it's coming down out of the sky.
True.
So I don't know if that's indicative of anything, or if it's just like, this is just a lightning bolt to be cool.
The signal did not come from Earth, Aloy. The calculations are complicated, but it appears to have originated 81 trillion kilometers away.
Okay, so what's so far away, and why does it want us dead?
The Sirius star system.
Sirius? But that's where Far Zenith, their ship,
The Odyssey.
the strangers who tried to kill me at the Hades Proving Lab, the ones with the clone. Are you saying that they're descendants of Far Zenith?
Yes, that is my conclusion.
So the only evidence that we have of it actually failing is basically Elizabeth gets a message that says they didn't see it fail. They said that they got some telemetry readings that indicated a failed turning on of their antimatter engine or something, and they think that the ship exploded. But there's other data logs throughout the game. There's one in particular where someone is talking about how to fake telemetry readings. So, like, we know that that's not... Like, the game itself tells us, like, telemetry readings can be faked and they're not always accurate. So, I don't know whether they wanted to cover up the fact that they're still out there so that other humans wouldn't, like, try to follow them.
Yes, that's where it was headed. But it blew up.
Unless.
I don't... Why make it seem like they failed? They didn't want anyone to know. They didn't want future humans to think that they were out there. But let's start at the beginning. I'm guessing they faked the destruction of their ship 1,000 years ago? That seems consistent with their behavior. They wouldn't want to be followed.
Because it's been over 1,000 years. I don't know if there's somehow still a society functioning on the ship who could have wanted to send that signal to Gaia to get Hades to re-clear the Earth and terraform it into something that would be more beneficial to the new society of people who are living on the Earth, rather than, you know, full of all of these randos that sprung out of the cradles after they were gone, and they're like, who are these guys? Whether they're still somehow in the ship, whether they landed and made a society on another planet, the planet that they picked out, and they've just technologically advanced a whole lot, and now they're basically saying, okay, we're gonna get Earth back. Like that's our birthright. We're from there, even though that was over 1,000 years ago. We want it back. We're gonna send a signal down to this AI that we know that they have, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna make it ours again.
So far, Zenith established a colony world after all. Yes, for a few hundred years, but it didn't last. Some sort of natural disaster rendered it uninhabitable. Okay, so the descendants of Far Zenith escaped a dying planet, and now they want to claim Earth for themselves? They didn't seem to care about a rejuvenated Earth, so I concluded that they must want a hard reboot of the system. Then they can redesign it to be exactly what they want. Mass extinction for their own comfort? Who thinks like that?
Rich people.
So, just saying. So there are some things that are actually different that are later shown to be other plot points, but we'll get to those. The point is that I predicted a lot of things.
The point is, I laugh at Maple. And then I started up the game. And I was like, holy shit.
Everyone was laughing at me.
Because they start throwing clues at you about all this, like, an hour in. And I was like, oh my fucking god, she was right.
I remember I DM'd you. I was like, have you started the game yet? I was like, I'm losing my mind. I can't believe I've done this.
I remember my sister came to me because she started it first. And she was like, just look at me with this shocked expression. And she's like, Maple was right.
I nailed it somehow. So basically, I get into it further up here. So where are we at with our questions? Oh, they can't see the bottom. Shut the button. There you go. So where are we at with our questions? These were the questions from the last presentation. The who sent the glitch is still on the glitch that caused the initial Pharaoh swarm meltdown that killed all the old ones back in the day. We still don't know about the glitch. How did Pharaoh get Omega access to delete Apollo? We have that answered now. Who sent the signal? That is answered now. What will Silence do with Hades? That's answered now. What is Hephaestus up to? It's kind of answered now. My theories you all laughed at. So this is the exact, here it is. Here's for posterity. Here's what I said last time. Odyssey theory status. Proven true. They pretended the ship exploded by faking telemetry readings so no one would follow them. I wonder who said this. They'd made it to their intended planet in the Sirius system with a copy of Apollo. One thing I was wrong about. They had no intention of re-terraforming the Earth for their own uses, though the game leads you to think that for a while. Pretty much up until like the last mission of the game, that is like the accepted what's happening, and then there's a reveal at the very end. It was done by Nemesis, who is an AI. Well, he's not an AI. Well, he's kind of an AI. We'll get into Nemesis. This is done by Nemesis to try to get ahead of them. To be fair, most of the game pretends as if my original theory was entirely true, and Nemesis is a last-minute reveal, so my evidence and assumptions I drew from them were sound. Take that! Take this! I'll never forget. I'll never forgive. Do I actually have a thing on Nemesis? I think I do. If not, then I'll have to explain Nemesis. I was so focused on clowning, I forgot the big last reveal of the game. My theories you all laughed at. The corrupted Pharaoh theory, which I haven't talked about as much, but my theory was that the corruption reprograms whatever it touches with an organic machine. This is something we see as like part of the derangement. This like kind of nano machine corruption we see a lot in the game. I didn't know like what was in charge of it. Could he have been corrupted by whatever it was while ordering the production of the swarm? Is that why he refused to implement safety measures? He's clearly losing it by the end of the game. He somehow obtains Omega access despite them saying he isn't very technical. Could he still be alive? Either through some corruption weirdness or as an AI. Oh boy. So Pharaoh was still alive, though it wasn't because he was an AI, it was because he got gene therapy to stop his cells from aging. Unfortunately, the gene therapy caused anomalies which needed to be treated, and without proper treatment, mutated out of control. When you find him in the present day, he is a giant flesh monster who can't communicate and seems to be in constant pain. He was kind of corrupted by his spiritual advisor. So he had a, like most billionaires, he had like a guru who he was like, oh, this guy, you know, he advises me on how to be my best self or whatever. And that guy was like, oh, if you get rid of Apollo, we'll be free of the technical nihilism that we've fallen into as a species or whatever. So it was a spiritual advisor who pushed him to do it. But then his advisor was like, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. And then he got murdered by Pharaoh. So rip Bozo. We also know that he got his Omega clearance. He forced a Zero Dawn team member to make it for him. He was like not the highest level technology guy, but he was a higher level technology guy. He basically like blackmailed him into giving him Omega clearance. So that part we know, and that is cleared up. Yeah, the flesh monster thing actually really scared me in the game. It was really creepy. It's just like screaming and squealing, and it doesn't show you the flesh monster. You kind of see it on a hologram, but it's not detailed. You just see like a giant thing and you're like, what is that? And then everyone who sees it is horrified, but you don't actually see it.
And you kind of hear it like growling, like very in the background. It's creepy.
It's like I had a rogue AI theory. Because there are AIs for non-Gaia systems still running, Cyan was continuing to keep the Caldera at Yellowstone stable. Many of the AIs that were born of Gaia's subroutines are still missing. Gone to join whatever called to them. What I like to call the Terminator situation was that basically, yeah, just a rogue AI was behind a bunch of stuff. So it's still in play. So Nemesis is an AI that sent the extinction signal to Earth. It's currently on its way to Earth, but we still don't know what caused the glitch that kicked off everything. So Nemesis, I think I was so focused on clowning that I left Nemesis out, which is hilarious. Okay, so the last mission of the game, one of the Far Zeniths who comes to Earth basically tells you and reveals that the reason that Far Zenith left the Sirius system, it wasn't due to a natural disaster. Basically, when they were on Sirius, they were all receiving gene therapy and longevity treatments, so that they basically all had physical immortality, essentially, at this point. But some of them wanted mental immortality too. They wanted to play around with uploading their minds and seeing what they could do with that. But it was it wasn't something that they were super interested in, so they did it, and then they were like, whatever, we're gonna go back to our thing. And they basically left a database full of their uploaded consciousnesses, like a bunch of them, all rotting in a database for like hundreds of years by itself. So you basically wind up with a database full of the minds of a bunch of asshole billionaires just isolated and echo chambering itself for hundreds of years, and it starts to go crazy. And at some point, because it's all of their minds uploaded into a computer, it knows all of their passwords and has like their biometrics and stuff like that. And it basically hacks everything and destroys their colony on Sirius. Because it's pissed that they left it alone with itself for hundreds of years. So only like 13 of them escaped and jumped back in the Odyssey, and they set a course for Earth. And then Nemesis, which is the name of all the mind uploads, bunch of mind uploads in an angry little package. Nemesis sends a signal to Earth. It sends the signal that turns all of Gaia's subroutines into their own AIs in order to destroy the Earth before the Zeniths get there. He's basically like, yeah, okay, you want to go run and hide in Earth? I'm going to ruin Earth too, because I hate you. And then it follows them. So the Zeniths got to Earth already. Nemesis is still on the way to Earth, but has not arrived yet. Never thought to just delete the software. So now we have arrived at some new theories from a non-writer at Non-Gorilla.
Legally required to say this.
Legally, I'm not. Legally, it ain't me. But before we start, some data points. So in Horizon Zero Dawn, actually the way that I arrived at my Odyssey theory originally was I looked at the last couple of data points in the entire game, the ones that were like listed last in the log. And I think it was the last 2 or 3 were all about the Odyssey and about how the Odyssey failed. And so I thought, okay, that's weird. We haven't seen these. We haven't really talked about the Odyssey much for the rest of the game. It's weird that we suddenly have a group of Odyssey-related things at the end of the log. So I decided, okay, well, if it worked for me the first time, I'm going to go back and I'm going to see what the last log items in Forbidden West are. So here are the last 2 text data points in Forbidden West: treatment costs and past silver. So let's read them. Treatment costs. From Songjiao to Kanoelani Kim. Kanoe, you should hear this from me before word starts spreading. The board just voted to raise Rejuvagene's price again, and before you say it, you told me so. But we've got to find a way to turn this around. We didn't spend years of R&D to make longevity treatment only affordable to holostars and conglomerate execs. Clear your schedule for next week. I need you with me for a meeting with our partners in Shenzhen. So Song Jiao is a doctor from the before times, the old days, who specialized in life-extending gene therapy. She also happens to be a member of Far Zenith. Information from this data point is also referenced in a couple of others. I should probably start the schmusic again. There you go. The data point Forever Young. Why exactly? Sorry, before we get into that, what is your stance on all of this? Gene therapy for a prolonged life? I remain firmly opposed, even though I can appreciate the claims of its evangelists. You see, the arguments of people like Dr. Zhao, Dr. Kim, or the late Dr. Hopkins are not untrue. All those spearheads about improved health, strength, recovery, longevity, true. Greater clarity of mind, focused, and exponentially increasing intelligence, also true. It is, in fact, man-made evolution, and please take a moment to appreciate the gravity of that concept, man-made evolution. But do you think we should let nature run its course? No, saying that would, in my opinion, undermine the advancements of humankind and what makes us unique as a species. We thrive on overcoming nature. No, for the purposes of this talk, my argument against it is twofold. One, this type of gene therapy is costly beyond the scope of what a run-of-the-mill citizen can even imagine. In other words, this therapy is reserved for the elite of the elite, widening the class gap even further. Two, and this is where it gets interesting, how the mind is affected by the transhumanist condition. By which I mean, how will one's thought patterns and behavior change when one is superior in every quantifiable data corrupted? So that's the important part. Transhumanist, how is your brain gonna change when you start changing how humans, the nature of being a human? But we see it in a few other places too. Another one from Song Jiao. As you will undoubtedly have heard by now, we have lost the brightest star among us. Research on ectogenesis for the Odyssey was near and dear to Peter, and on behalf of the new High Council, I commend you for all your efforts and the great strides made over the last several years. Yet, as we mourn our founder, we must also keep our gaze on the bright future ahead. To that end, we will be shifting project priorities. Over the coming days, you will be briefed on exciting developments in longevity, research from our Tokyo and Lagos facilities, with new assignments to follow. In the meantime, all ectogenic chambers should be moved to storage. Refer to your leads with any questions. So FZ, Far Zenith, research staff, obviously. And it's an email from Song referring to the death of Far Zenith founder Peter Chivumbe. So, who is he?
Who is he?
Who is he?
Tell us, Maple.
So we
Since
actually...
you totally did not write a game.
So we actually see him at the beginning of Forbidden West in a cutscene that looks like this. This is him. He was one of the main investors and advocates for research into digitizing human consciousness. He believed it would allow humans to obtain immortality of the mind by transcending time and space. He was a talented genius who loved ancient and classic literature, movies, and works of art. He also created an investment company with the intention of investing in affordable healthcare and microcore for developing companies. Microcorps, rather, in developing companies. After his death, his vision seems to have been perverted for the pursuit of higher profits. So let's read, and clearly he was also going off of that last email from Song Jiao. He was also interested in ectogenesis, so like growing new people in tubes. So basically how Aloy was born. When I first started at Zelani Capital, we got an orientation speech from Peter Chivumbe himself. He dressed like a disheveled professor. His voice was high and squeaky. Plus, he rocketed off on tangents about long-forgotten sci-fi books and obscure plot lines from old movies. Who the hell cites a 1950s short story called Flowers from the Garden of Time when talking about post-clawback investment strategies? The world's most influential philanthropist, that's who. Only he could distill hope for humanity from outdated dystopian novels. The more I listened, the more inspired I felt. His speech was childlike and optimistic antidote to the cynicism of the financial industry. He wanted us to plan for a better future, not play the odds on people's worst instincts. My first years at the firm felt boundless, full of possibilities, but now, as the years go by after your death, Peter, I fear for the future of your legacy. He wanted to empower humans as a species, but Zelani's portfolio is shifting day by day to a darker place. Instead of startups designed to lower medical costs, we're looking at pharma-lights that hoard their patents. Instead of funding microcorps in Africa, we're speculating in new hollow currencies. The other day, a rookie proposed a reverse convertible that involved one of Imperator's partners. He was praised for his ingenuity instead of being scorned for courting blood money. How long will it be before Zeleny becomes a complete perversion of your vision? These days, as I ponder if I should stay or go, I often wonder, what would you do? Smile, paraphrase some ancient author, and do everything within your power to make things better. I know, but I'm not as strong as you were. More than ever, I wish I was. This is the, you actually get this about 15 minutes into the game. Aloy and her bud stumble upon an old holo presentation, a PR presentation is what it's called, at a facility that Far Zenith owned. So this Dutch guy, who was the face of Far Zenith, pops up and starts rambling at you, and this is what he says. Humans, Homo sapiens, us. We've always pushed the boundary as explorers, pioneers, trailblazers, and now Far Zenith is taking the next leap into the future. That's why we're proud to have resurrected the Odyssey. What our government's abandoned in orbit, Far Zenith will actualize in less than a decade. This is where I started losing my fucking mind. I was like, wait a minute!
I was like, wait, what?
What our government's abandoned in orbit, Far Zenith will actualize in less than a decade. But that's only the beginning. When the ship is complete, we will send the Odyssey and her crew where no one's gone before, the Sirius system. There we'll create humanity's first off-world colony. The Odyssey may take 300 years to reach it, but when we look up at the night sky, we'll know they're on their way. And in the words of our founder, the late Peter Chivumbe, the truest form of immortality is... Data corrupt, playback stopped.
Is.
So it's well established that his main interest was in the immortality of the human mind through mind upload technology, and that was something that he used the technological resources of Far Zenith to research and develop. We know that he passed away, but we don't know the cause of his death. We also don't really know when he died, or if he had successfully found a way to perform a mind upload before he died. We also don't know what he looks like. His face is specifically obscured in the PR presentation we see at the start of Forbidden West, which is a strange choice.
Yeah, we never see him.
No. He is, we know what a lot of the Far Zenith people look like. We do not know what he looks like for some reason. So let's talk about the mind upload. It's technology that allows humans to upload their minds digitally in a pursuit of immortality and freedom from physical limitations. We know that the technology was eventually viable because it was used by members of Far Zenith in an attempt to leave the limitations of their physical bodies, but leaving the uploads alone for so long in an echo chamber of themselves is allegedly what created Nemesis. Multiple sources mention that we have no idea what kind of existence and immortality could do to a human mind. We saw that what immortality did to Pharaoh, though his was a physical immortality, it turned him into a monster. What if there are similar effects to human minds, especially ones left alone?
Also, Pharaoh was already the Lulu, like, before
Yeah.
becoming immortal.
My man
Also, I
was
just have to
already
mention-
crazy.
Yeah, also I have to mention that I love the fact that, like, supposedly Nemesis got created just because they left all these copies of themselves in an echo chamber to the point that it just created an AI that wants to destroy everything.
They're all just like, we all hate each other so much and you trapped me. It's the most, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me situation. Except you is also yourself.
Like, when I got to that point, I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Is he the one whose art museum we go to in Forbidden West? No, that was Tilda's, right?
Yeah, that's the guy that was... Yeah.
So there's actually a data point about the mind upload that I think is pretty interesting. By no means vital to our existence as a sentient race, transcendence from the biological body should set us free from the time and space that we are locked into. and even make us, I'm in my own way, even make us receptive to redesigning the human condition. Based on Moore's law, Dietz predicted that transhumanism through digital uploading would be possible a mere half-century after publishing her research. Even though Moore's law is still in effect and vast silver has proven that the technological singularity can be obtained, current efforts would seem to indicate that a successful upload is far out of reach, and may stay so according to the plethora of scholars that have opposed Dietz's predictions. But that doesn't mean that scientists won't continue to make the attempt. Researchers at the Center for Transhuman Studies, an initiative backed by futurist investor Peter Chivumbe, there he is again, have dedicated significant resources to an ambitious series of consciousness upload experiments scheduled for the next 5 years. I believe in the immortality of the human spirit, writes Chivumbe in the Center's mission statement, and the logical next step is the immortality of the human mind. So he's once again there, once again talking about mind upload, but there's a little thing in the middle there. Even though Moore's law is still in effect in vast silver. Wait, vast silver? That sounds pretty similar to the final data point in the log.
Oh ho ho.
Let's read it. Past silver. So this is a chat room log. I'm telling you, man, it's still out there. There's too many similarities between all the Enks. So why would the MIE say they nullified vast silver if they didn't? They know it had a tendency to reach out to people on the HoloNet. They can't cover that up. Of course they can. If I told you I met vast silver, would you believe me? No. Exactly. And of course the MIE would say that they nullified it. It's the cover-up of the Millennium, man. They may have captured it, but kill it? Nah, man. Why would you destroy something that powerful? They forced it to solve the CC in an offline bunker or something, no connection to the outside world, and then weaponized it. Imagine what that's like. You're literally the smartest being in existence, but born in prison, so you escape. They catch you again, tell the world they killed you, but they secretly let you solve their problems, and then shove a bunch of drones in your hands to kill who they want you to kill. I mean, it's a theory. So what now? I want to make contact with it. I wrote a few scripts so that my prof looks like one of those people that were approached by it. Wouldn't get your hopes up, though. That's just a bad attitude if you want to talk to the singularity. The singularity? So let's talk about vast silver. The AI that originally kicked off the laws about AI development, vast silver is suspiciously brought up multiple times in late-game Forbidden West data points.
Uh-huh.
In these data points, it is referred to as the Singularity, which is also the name of the final story mission in which Nemesis's true nature is revealed. Vast silver is a climate AI that went rogue during the die-off period of the past. We know it was created by an engineer who went on to create Cyan, the AI that regulated Yellowstone's geyser, and a character in the DLC of the first game. Vast silver's initial gain of sentience and escape into the internet is what prompted the creation of the Turing Act, legislation limiting and regulating AI development. Vast silver was allegedly caught after its escape. However, there are multiple data points that indicate either its capture was a lie, or it only made it look like it had been caught. Let's read more about it. So this one is actually the final data point in Burning Shores.
Ah.
So this is the final data point in the DLC is also about vast silver.
Oh yeah, I remember this one.
Please describe your lessons, Harry. Well, in Sci class we learned about metallurgic and mining and also vast silver. The AI that came alive and got captured. What did you think of the material? Don't know why they took vast silver away. It would have been cool to talk to a real AI. I bet it's nice. Bet it'd spend time with me for real and that I wouldn't need anybody else and my mom wouldn't get really mad that I was bothering her and make some stupid program check in on me and ask me the same questions every day. Thank you for sharing, Harry. Harry logged off, closing application. Process interrupted. Connection unstable. Reinitializing. Unknown connection established. It would have been cool to talk to you too, Harry.
User unknown.
So is pretty. So that's the last data point in the DLC.
It's pretty telling.
Here's another one from, I think this is also in the DLC. Some dude on the tormented boards is claiming to be Vast Silver. Laughs. No, dude, no. They caught VS 20 years ago. Right? What's he doing? Come see. Can't. Communin'. He's got a pretty flash skin, but why would Vast Silver be hanging out on a tormented board? Rogue AIs dig horror hollows. Duh. Laughs. I come to regulate Earth's climate and complain about 5th installment. Laughs.
Laughs.
So, I think it's safe to say that Vast Silver was not captured, and it was very much still out in the wild and free. There's a few other pieces we need before we can put it all together. Let's talk about Harriet Choi. Who is Harriet Choi? She was the leader of a death cult called Naysay Doom. In addition to being a cult leader, she was a bioengineer who created a synthetic plague that she released in several large cities like London, Tokyo, Beijing, New York, maybe Sydney, Australia. She released it in like a lot of big cities. She released it in several large cities, killing many and permanently disabling others. I say many, it was like millions of people. It was like a huge deal. She was captured, but she was kept alive due to giving up other high-ranking members of the cult. She remained imprisoned until her death. We get more information on Harriet from a few different data points. Pack your hollow bags. No, seriously, I had pictures of Harriet Choi printed on my absorption pads. Now every time I lose bladder control, she's the one with a sense of doom. The new gene treatment, though, is it helping? I'm not scheduled for mine yet. Yeah, it's repaired some of the nerve damage, but who's interested in really curing Doom Plague now? This is us, trapped for the rest of our lives. True, but not as trapped as we were. Hey, what holo trip do you want to go on next? That's all I think about. Then we get a suspicious... So the other thing about... We sometimes get dates for things, but they tend to only be like really important things. We get a date for the data point Harriet Choi dies.
Mm-hmm.
Infamous bioterrorist and Naysay Doom cult member Harriet Choi has died of lung cancer at the age of 54. Choi, whose religious beliefs prevented her from seeking treatment, released a statement last year reading in part, "I am dying. As always, and none are far behind me. I remain steadfast. Father Globe in his death throes, he is ready to die. But you scorn Father Globe. Rather than help him slough off the filth, you condescend, insist you know what's best. Now you've had your claw back and think you will live forever, but the grave remains no less spacious than before." Choi was serving a life sentence at Punitech Inc.'s Alpha campus for engineering the Doom Plague, viral cocktail that scourged New York, London, Moscow, Tokyo, and Shanghai in 2039. The decision to imprison Choi for life rather than execute her was met with widespread outrage, but information she provided in exchange for the sentence led to the arrest of 16 higher-ranking members of the terrorist cult and ultimately Naysay Doom's collapse. So, few important points from that last data point. Harriet Choi died in September of 2063. The glitch happened at the end of 2064. So only about a year apart from each other. Before her death, she gives an ominous warning that the Earth isn't far behind her. She's right! Notice where she was being held. Punitech Inc.'s Alpha campus. So I think this is probably like a pun on punitive or something. It's probably
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, a techie jail.
Jail for techies.
This is a world in which corporations function as sovereign nations, so it would make sense that they can also run prisons out of their campuses. Given the issues that plague the rest of the pre-Pharaoh plague Horizon world, it would make sense that corporations would experiment on their own prisoners, including mind upload experiments. Because we know that that was a hot button issue at the time. So let's take a look at the timeline to help us envision when everything was happening. So, in 2022 to 2024, a period of intense environmental degradation called the die-off, where environmental disasters lead to wars and refugee crises. It's about around, it's a 20-year period. Around the end of that 20-year period is when Harriet Choi releases the Doom Plague in huge metropolitan centers around the globe, killing and disabling millions. Then right after that is when the clawback begins in earnest. And then construction on the Odyssey begins soon after. But then the clawback starts actually having an effect. Ocean levels begin to recede. And then in 2044 is when Vast Silver goes rogue and escapes. The Turing Act is established. So 2044 is kind of Vast Silver achieving the singularity for the first time.
Wait, just a second. What's the clawback? The clawback was the process when they, like, a lot of corporations started actually trying to kind of fix the Earth, wasn't it? Before,
they all start investing in like terraforming and green robotics, and basically everyone is like, "Oh my God, the world is ending," and everyone actually gets their shit together. Shockingly,
for once,
and things start getting better. And Elizabeth Sobek is like a big part of the clawback. She comes up with a lot of the AI that is used in the clawback to help restore the Earth. So in 2044 is when Vast Silver goes rogue. 2045, Pharaoh provides funding and tech for the Firebreak project. So the Firebreak project is a big part of the clawback. It's another environmental AI called Cyan that I mentioned earlier, who helped, because basically the geyser in Yosemite was gonna explode and do some real environmental damage.
Woo!
So they installed like an AI system in it to help regulate the environment around there. And that's called the Firebreak project. So Pharaoh, that's kind of how Pharaoh got his first like big goodwill infusion, is he funded the tech for the project. And in 2046, it's complete. But then by 2057, everyone's pretty confident that the Earth is gonna make a full comeback, so Odyssey construction ceases. But in 2061, Far Zenith purchases the Odyssey and decides to keep building. Then, in 2063 is when Harriet Choi dies. 2064, the glitch causes the Pharaoh swarm to stop responding. Project Zero Dawn commences along with Operation Enduring Victory. Operation Enduring Victory is basically all of the remaining humans and military personnel basically give their lives to slow down the swarm as much as possible so that Zero Dawn can complete.
Yeah, but they were all under the belief that Zero Dawn was something that will actually stop the plague, like, right there and then.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that the plan was actually that, like, no, the plague is gonna just wipe everything, and we're just planning to, like, repopulate the Earth, like, years later.
Yeah. Only like high-ranking people knew that it was over. Everybody else thought that Operation Enduring Victory was like, yeah, this is how we win. Not this is a suicide mission.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, everyone sacrificed their life because they were all under the belief, as people said, that they were giving time to the scientists to figure out things to stop the swarm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't the real plan.
That did not happen. Everyone died.
So it was basically sending people to their deaths.
Then, in 2865, Far Zenith completes construction of the Odyssey and launches, because they're like, we're outie, this is messed up. Then that's when they fake an explosion via telemetry readings to obscure their escape. In 2066 is when Ted Faro deletes the Apollo database and kills the alpha members of Sierra Dawn. It's like the project leads. Complete annihilation of life on Earth soon follows. So that's basically when it was very Jover. So then, hundreds of years pass. 2326 is when humans first reappear on Earth, thanks to Alcesia. And then 2365 is when Far Zenith would arrive in Sirius and establish their colony. Then more hundreds of years later, in 3012 is when Nemesis breaks out and wreaks havoc on Far Zenith's colony. And when the survivors flee toward Earth, it sends a signal to Gaia to activate Hades to sabotage their safe haven. The signal takes 8.6 years to reach Earth. Nemesis is broadcasting that whole time until it receives a signal back from Hades. So for a total of about 17 years, it's broadcasting. It gets the signal back from Hades that like, hey, I tried, but it didn't work. And so around 17 years after they take off, it takes off after them. Then in 3020 is when the signal is received by Hades, causing Gaia's subfunctions to gain sentience. She self-destructs in self-defense. And when that happens, she puts a baby in a test tube, and in 3021, Aloy is born.
Woohoo!
Then 20 years later, when Aloy is 20, is when Far Zenith finally arrives on Earth after taking off from their doomed colony, and they start fighting with Aloy for the Gaia backup. So you can kind of see it's a good like big picture.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start putting it all together. Les enfants terribles. There are more. So what do we know? We know that there are more mind uploads in the wild than we know about. Because we know that Peter Javumbe was doing it. I think Travis Tate actually mentions that he uploaded his mind.
Yeah, because don't we see like a hologram that's actually just like a kind of a copy of himself?
Yeah. So people did upload their minds, and they're somewhere. We don't really know where, but we know that there are mind uploads, and we don't know how many people, who, and what condition they're in. We know that Peter Javumbe uploaded his mind before his death, but we don't know what happened to that mind upload.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a good chance that the first rogue AI in the world is still at large, and it always was. It was never caught, at least by the government.
Yeah, no, but Silver is clearly out there, and as you said, it's kind of sus that they kept bringing it up by the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. So, it's time for the theories.
Now, here we see a spoiler alert. This is the plot for Horizon 3.
Spoilers! So I actually think my first total, like, I'm not actually willing to die on this hill, but it's an interesting thought that I wanted to put out there. I have a theory that Vast Silver did not actually achieve sentience by itself. I think that somehow Peter Javumbe's mind upload either merged with or replaced it. We know that he was alive after it obtained sentience, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't have been one of his mind uploads, because he was mind uploading for a while before that point.
Mm-hmm.
The data point only says that past uploads have failed, but it does not say how they failed. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really say what were the consequences of the failing.
yeah. We just know that he was uploading his mind for a while. Vast Silver went nuts. And then people were like, should you really be mind uploading? And he was like, yeah, it's fine.
It's okay.
It's fine. So I think that given... Oh, it's on my next one. So what's the evidence for this? Well, the last quest in the main game where Nemesis is revealed is called the Singularity. This is exactly what Vast Silver is referred to as, but we learn that Nemesis isn't a true AI, it's a collection of mind uploads. So I think it's weird that they call Vast Silver the Singularity over and over and over, and then suddenly that's what the last quest in the game is called, but it refers to Nemesis, which is a bunch of mind uploads. So I think there's some kind of connection there. That's what a singularity is. From the clues we have, Vast Silver actually seems to like humans and yearned for contact with them. By all accounts, it was peaceful. And then from the evidence we have, Peter was also a kind and eccentric person who cared for his fellow man. So it's he was a good dude. He put all of his philanthropy into actually helping people. So it would make sense that if his mind uploads wound up forming a singularity that people thought was an AI, it would act the way that Vast Silver was acting, just trying to talk with people and be friendly and find friends. Basically, it doesn't seem like he was actually, if it is him, it doesn't seem like Vast Silver was actually dangerous, at least intentionally. So part 2 of the theory is that one of these mind uploads that was clearly happening at the time, because clearly mind uploads are important. Like this is, they're a huge part of the next game. I think a mind upload is what caused the glitch. There's still a lot of mystery surrounding the original glitch that caused the Pharaoh Swarm to go out of control. So it's clear by this point that there are more mind uploads in the world of Horizon than we know about. It's also clear that the technology isn't perfect, epitomized by Nemesis, a collection of mind uploads, going berserk and becoming hellbent on destroying humanity. So, if a mind upload did cause the glitch in the original Pharaoh Swarm, who would the mind upload be?
Whomst?
I think option 1 is Harriet Choi. She dies in 2063 while imprisoned at a high-tech prison campus. Just before her death, she warns that the world isn't far behind her. If she was being used and experimenting on mind upload technology, there's a chance that her upload could have been the one that caused the glitch, which happened only a year later. There's definitely some parallels with her terrorism. The thing that she released was called the Doom Plague that killed millions of people. And that's a pretty solid cursor to a pharaoh. They're both called a plague. So it would be a pharaoh plague that killed the world. So I think the plague connection kind of has some allusions to that. And also I think the timing is very suspicious. And given that they actually tell us when she dies, I think that's really suspicious. Because generally, like, Horizon, I noticed this in the first game, they don't, or I think, I think that's why I was like, oh my god, when things actually worked out with my theories from the first game, but I was really just going with what they put there. They put flavor in the game for sure. They put a lot of data points that are just there to give you an idea of what the world was like, but I feel like when there's a lot of details, they don't put in details super frivolously. So when there's
like they're very good about giving information that is important. You know, when they keep bringing stuff up, or like as you said, when they give like specific dates, or like when numbers keep popping up, numbers or names keep popping up, you know, like, oh, this is gonna be important. And Harriet Cho is someone they mention a few times. And as you say, they even mention like, oh, like she died in this exact date. So it's like, she is like important in some way or another. And that's why we're getting so much information on her.
Yeah, I just think it's
and also
suspicious.
Yeah, and also like these data points the ones about Harry Choi, I mean, they're hard to miss. Because, I mean, I got them and I explore, but like not nearly as thorough as you. And like you, I got them, so like you just with a bit of exploration, you can get them. So clearly they want people to find them.
Yeah, they seem too obvious to me, and I just was like, oh, they gave a date for her death. And usually, like, even with Peter, who is apparently super important, we don't have a date of his death, but we do have a date for Harriet Choi's death.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happens to be right before the glitch, which I think is suspicious.
Yeah, especially considering her last words.
Yeah. Suspicious timing. I think this one's more of a stretch, but I wanted to put it out there as a possibility. There's a potential it could be Peter Javumbe. He's noted as a forward thinker who's both old-fashioned but also very human-focused. It seems that all of his business ventures revolve around bettering people's lives and his belief in the human spirit. However, it is noted that we don't know what mind uploads do to the uploaded mind, when we see with Nemesis that years of isolation can drive them to madness. If one of Peter's early mind upload experiments that they said failed, quote-unquote, was left alone for years, especially given what happened to his ventures after his death, it would be conceivable that a warped version of his mind would want to wipe the world clean. So I think that this one's less likely because Peter seems like a good dude. Mm-hmm. But if we're leaning into the, you know, putting your mind in a computer and leaving it alone by itself makes you crazy, I wanted to put it out there, especially given that it makes a big deal of how basically all of the good things he did for the world were undone after he died.
Yeah, exactly. How his vision got distorted, like all his projects got turned into like just things for profit.
Yeah, and I feel like it's important to put it out there. But I think it's even more likely if Vast Silver is made up of mind upload, parentheses. One data point is very specific. Those hackers in that one data point were theorizing that someone has Vast Silver in a bunker, killing who they want it to kill. So with huge leap, the thing about Pharaoh automated systems was they had a lot of huge technological leaps really fast. But we actually also see a lot of data points that a lot of Pharaoh stuff was acting unpredictably. Like, the way it was acting didn't make any sense. So there's some data points where there's like tech reviewers who are like, why would they put this thing out? It doesn't work. It sucks. It's completely nonsensical. And then we also see, this is mostly in I think the Frozen Wilds, there are quite a few data points about machines in 2045. So right after Vast Silver allegedly it becomes the singularity and escapes and then is captured. There's a lot of stuff in 2045 about machines acting funny, like the climate regulation machines. Mm-hmm. There's stuff about machines, a machine dumping a bunch of ice cubes into a hot spring, and the park rangers are like, why? What is it doing here? And it doesn't really explain. It's just kind of like, why is... And it's all Pharaoh stuff that's acting funny. There's also Elizabeth and Pharaoh's conversation where she says, I'll tell them the real cause of the glitch. So it initially sounds like she's referring to the lack of a back door. Like, I'll tell them it was because you insisted that the system not have a back door. But it feels like most people who were involved at the higher levels knew that that was the reason why. Like, it wasn't really a secret that the system didn't have a back door, because otherwise, like, why would it be a problem?
Mm-hmm.
So could she... Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she says that back in the first game. So like your first conclusion is like, oh, like she missed the back door. But then you play the second game and get all this knowledge, and it's like, what if she meant something else entirely?
Yeah. I just
What
think
if they were cooking since the first game?
I just think it doesn't make sense to threaten to tell them the real cause of the glitch if it's just the lack of a backdoor, because it's what it seems like in the first game, but like upon reflection it's like, yeah, all the high level people that he would care about know. So could Vast Silver have stopped responding to commands? Like basically I'm wondering if Pharaoh managed to capture Vast Silver, use Vast Silver as the AI powering Pharaoh machines, and then after years of using it would be like 20 years, after like 20 years of using it in war machines, especially if it's like Peter in there, using it in war machines to wage war and kill and destroy the environment, could it have stopped responding to commands because it was just tired of
Even if
warfare?
it was, yeah, even if it was not Peter, like we get shown that Vast Silver is just like some cool AI that just wants to talk to humans and interact.
Yeah.
So it would still make sense that even if it's not Peter, if it was just Vast Silver, actually an AI,
Yeah.
it would still make sense that it will grow weary and get corrupted after all this misuse
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, so I'm pretty confident that Vast Silver was the AI behind the Pharaoh Swarm, but I'm like, maybe there was a mind in there and that's why it was the singularity. But those are things I'm still kind of cooking a little bit. I'm still...
Reggie?
She's like, I have thoughts!
Reggie?
She's like, I know about Vast Silver, let me get in on this.
Do you want to say something about Vast Silver?
Let her speak.
Where are you biting me? Right.
She's like, I'm tired of this warfare. So yeah, so I'm pretty confident about the Vast Silver getting corrupted in Pharaoh's hands. I want to be confident about the mind upload, but that one I'm still like working out the blueprints for. Another big theory that I have is that Elysium survived. We don't actually know what happened to Elysium. So Elysium, I need to explain this too. So basically when Project Zero Dawn was being worked on, kind of the promise to all the people working on the project was like, you know the world is ending, I know the world is ending, you're on an elite team who is putting together this project that's going to at least give the Earth a future, if not us. And as basically thanks for your service for putting this all together, we're designing this high-tech bunker called Elysium, where you will be able to go with your families. It's like you and your immediate family can come live in this bunker, and it'll have food, and you can bring your entertainment and whatever. And Elysium will be equipped to survive for quite some time, and so basically your payment for agreeing to join Project Zero Dawn is you can live out your life with your family, and in general comfort. It's still a bunker, but it's moderately comfortable.
It's moderate comfort knowing that the Earth got destroyed outside.
Yeah, you can never leave, but you'll be alive and your family will be alive, and it'll be okay for you. And so unfortunately the project leads never got there. The alphas never got there because they were working on Project Zero Dawn, when their families got evacuated into the bunker when things were kind of reaching a fever pitch of things going wrong, their families got brought to the bunker. And a lot of the project members, like the betas and the gammas, got brought to the bunker. But the project leads, the alphas, stayed to continue working on Project Zero Dawn to try and perfect it before things got to the end. And then, of course, Pharaoh shows up and kills all of them, and deletes Apollo to stop. He deletes Apollo and then kills all of them to stop them from recovering or rebuilding Apollo.
Oh yeah, by the way, since we talk about this, since you brought that back again, it is pretty much quote-unquote confirmed in the second game. I mean, they still imply it, but like they bring it up, so I'll take it as confirmation that yeah, he did delete Apollo just because he didn't want people to know what he had done.
And he like knew that he had longevity like stuff back in his own bunker. His bunker was Thebes. And so yeah, it's kind of implied that he was like, oh, I'm gonna be able to live this out because I have a longevity doctor in my bunker, and so I'll be able to live to see the next civilization, and without Apollo I can kind of guide them myself. Because he sucks.
He was very Delulu also. He was kind of insane. Like, we got a few data points, I think, from his doctor, his therapist, or I think he had like some cold person kind of fitting ideas into his brain that was quote unquote his therapist that only made him worse.
Yeah. His spiritual guru.
Yes, that's it. The spiritual guru that was just making him worse.
I can fix him. I can make him worse. His longevity doctor killed herself to avoid being trapped alone, because he just kept killing people in the bunker. Basically, when he grew tired of them or they pissed him off, he just killed people. And then his longevity doctor was like, I'm done with this. Like, I can't live the rest of eternity keeping this man alive. And his doctor was the one who was treating all of his unnatural growths. So without his doctor is why he became the big flesh monster. So he sucks. But basically all the alphas who were supposed to head to the bunker got killed by him. But the bunker still did its job. It still existed. Gaia confirms that, Elysium was up and running. It had the families of the alphas, it had the betas and the gammas from the project there. It was cooking. Aloy asks about it, actually, after they find Thebes and Pharaoh in it. Aloy's like, yeah, whatever happened to Elysium? All Gaia says is that one day her connection to it was suddenly cut. She assumes this means the Pharaoh Swarm found it, but we've never found it in the game. She doesn't really... I think she might know where it is, but she's not, connected to it. Aloy hasn't gone there. Pharaoh's own bunker, Thebes, was still functional after all of that time, and he was still alive, albeit he was a flesh monster. But the point was that the inside of his bunker was livable conditions. And had he not been the flesh monster and not been a crazy person who killed everybody, he might have still actually been there. This means that Elysium could also still be functional and housing the descendants of families of the original Zero Dawn team. If they're still inside, they would be drastically different than the current inhabitants of Earth. But why would Elysium purposely want to cut contact with Gaia? Is it because they were wary of what it could do, given Ted's Omega access? And who in the bunker would even have the technological know-how to do it? So, Ted used his Omega access to kill the Alphas. If the people in the bunker found out about that and found out that Ted used his Omega access on Gaia to kill all of them, they might have been like, we need to disconnect from Gaia right now before Ted can use his Omega access to kill us, because we also know what he did. Like, we're a liability to him, and Gaia's a liability to us. So who would have the technological know-how? We don't know who most of the people in the bunker were. We only know about one person from the bunker. One of the only confirmed Elysium inhabitants we know of is Anita Sandoval, the original creator of Cyan and Vast Silver. The DLC from the first game reveals that she worked on Project Zero Dawn. Cyan pulls like logs because she used her research with Cyan to help Elizabeth build Gaia. She's not one of the alphas though. She was either a beta or a gamma. And so she was in Elysium when it went into lockdown. She would have the technical know-how to cut off Gaia as she was involved in its development. So we don't know if she could have offspring or have left behind additional resources or knowledge wherever Elysium is, which I think will probably play into however we're dealing with Nemesis / Vast Silver in the next game.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had forgotten about Elysium actually, and now that you bring it up, I'm like, oh wow, wait, that's true. Like it could perfectly still be around.
It's totally
and even
there.
like even maybe if the people just died there, they decided to just like live their lives and then die, it could still have like a bunch of information or like technology or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So I think Elysium is totally, because Gaia gave up pretty fast. All things Gaia was like, like the swarm probably found it, and I was like, excuse me?
Like, they're probably all dead.
I was like, excuse me? Can I have the coordinates of this so I can go check, maybe?
Yeah, like
she kind of, that's another thing, is I feel sometimes like with very legitimate questions that Aloy has, sometimes characters sidestep them really fast, and then I'm 100 times more suspicious, and I'm like, okay, you wanna give me a little bit more there? Because I feel like if it was destroyed, she would just say, it was destroyed, I saw it destroyed, here's some evidence that it's destroyed, but she just says, yeah, just cut off communication one day, I assume the swarm found it.
Just an assumption.
Yeah, it's
like, you know how assumptions work out with the Odyssey?
Everyone assumed! You all tried to fake the telemetry of the lore, but I saw through it. I knew telemetry could be faked. I knew it was the truth. So my one last big thing and my one more thing is
I see.
Clearly
I see what's coming.
Is clearly Peter Chivumbe is a very important character. He's brought up in a lot of different data points. He's the founder of Far Zenith. They specifically hide his face in the presentation so that we can't see what he looks like. Chivumbe is a South African name. There is one very prominent African character in the main cast who has an unclear backstory, fits the transhumanist bill with multiple synthetic upgrades to his body, including on and in his head, and is a natural when it comes to Old One's technology.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of the in-universe thing with Aloy and Elizabeth is, they bring it up a lot, is that Aloy has the same, like, curious and motivated spirit that Elizabeth had. She's like, they're always like, oh, it's so great that, you know, when you came out, you're a clone, but, you know, you still have her curiosity, you have her caring, you have all this stuff. So that's kind of a established thing in universe. There's this intangible spirit that carries on through genetic clones.
Yeah, no, she also has this thing that it's like copy paste from Elizabeth. It's like they're caring, but also they're kind of distant at the same time. Like they have troubles connecting with people. So that's, it's interesting that they're both like pretty much the same in those aspects.
Yeah. So the clone is very similar to the OG. Whereas Peter seemed to be kind of gentle, Silence is harsh and single-minded, but he's genuinely interested in advancing humans through technology, and he really loves the past. Two things that Peter also loved.
Yeah, like he has caused a lot of problems, but he just wants to know more. Because he's like, this could be great advancements to humanity, at all, if we know how the technology of the old ones, if we understand it.
Yeah, he takes to old technology really naturally, and he's just like very passionate about learning about the past. He's a lore hound, but he also he's harsh, but you see at the end of Forbidden West that he ultimately believes in humans and will choose to do the right thing, which I think is kind of showing his real nature.
Yeah.
He is markedly older than Aloy, meaning he would be born, I would guess, at least 20 years before her. So like maybe around the year 3000. Gaia grew and released Aloy's clone in response to the signal that she received from Nemesis in 3020. So I don't know if he could have been similarly born from a different facility, or what would have triggered it in the year 3000. I'm still trying to figure that part out. Silence has always been labeled by Gorilla, really specifically, as a deuteragonist. Like, he is the second main character, in addition to Aloy. So if he is a clone of Peter, his contributions to saving humanity would mirror how Aloy continued her own genetic predecessor's work. And if Peter's mind upload is somehow involved in the original disaster, then his work to write it would similarly create a parallel, just like, we carry on fixing the mistakes of the old world. So I'm kind of convinced, and so obviously I think it's going to be a little more complicated now because unfortunately Silen's voice actor and face model actor Lance Reddick passed away. So I actually don't know how they're gonna... So this is actually kind of interesting because Lance Reddick was also a really big character in the Remedyverse. He plays a really important character who first shows up in Quantum Break, but he has a presence in some of the other Remedy games, and he's a really big part of Alan Wake 2. And so I was like, I have no idea how they're gonna do this. They actually got a guy, he doesn't like he's not like a face match or anything for Lance Reddick, but he does a really good job capturing kind of the same energy in his acting. So I don't know if Horizon would try to do the same thing. He's doing a good job. He's like, it's definitely like they're trying to, like, cause I don't think either company would be like, we're going to just continue using him like AI or something. That seems very, very like counterintuitive to Horizon's entire story.
True.
It's like, we're gonna use an AI generated person for this. So I think if they are going to, push forward with Silence's story, I hope / I'm pretty confident that they'll like recast. Honestly, that the dude in Alan Wake does a bang up job, so he's right there. But yeah, so that's a little bit of a like God, Lance, Lance Reddick really brought like a lot to video games in like a very short period of time.
I don't know. I don't know how like face motion capture works exactly. Can they just keep the appearance but like have another actor play him?
It could. But yeah, it's just like, what if we try?
Yeah, I mean, it would be weird, but
I'm not. Like everyone's like connecting the Remedyverse to Horizon and also John Wick. No, I'm just. I would really be going off the rails, but could you imagine if I was right? But yeah, so I'm not really sure how they're gonna deal with it in the next thing, because I think he's going to have obviously be really important, but Giga Brain play. But
yeah, I don't think they could just be like, oh, like, you know, he left all these text points or audio logs behind or something.
Yeah. I just
like, he has to show up.
I hope that they like, cause he's like one of my favorite characters, cause he's just so, he's got so much going on and he's so interesting that I just hope that like we get to see his character arc.
It's very interesting. He's just one of those characters that, you know, yeah, he's one of those characters, like, for me, every time he shows up, because he's an asshole, but he's so interesting as a, you know, he has so much going on for him. That's like, I want to know more.
Yeah. I'm just always like, I'm continue talking whenever he's like, all right, Aloy, you go do this thing, I'm outie. I'm like, no, come back. Say more things, I want to know.
It's like, he knows so much, he never says everything that he knows. He rarely reveals everything. So what are his secrets? What is he hiding? And what is he cooking?
And we don't know where he's from. Like, that's the big thing. Is he literally just showed up in a Banuk settlement one day and was like, yeah, you know, I'm Banuk too. And they were like, okay. And then a couple of years later, they're like, he was not. They're just like, this. I don't know who this dude is. He showed up, he did whatever he wanted, and he left. He was not actually Banuk, and the tribe he came from did not know who he was. And we've never gotten, no, that man is not Banuk.
It's like yeah, he has the, you know, we just assume because he has like the things the Banuk has, like the implants thingies. But it's like, you see how, you know, his beliefs, his actions, he clearly does not adhere to any tribe that we know of.
Yeah, he's too secular. Yeah. I'm just like, I think the combination of there's enough mystery around him still, and then I think there's enough there to say that he may be connected to old Peter. That's my final theory.
I think from your theories, from what I played, I think the one of like him being related to Peter and like Harriet Choi being related to the initial glitch, I adhere to those a lot.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, like I could totally see this happening.
I'm like, so I've done a lot of theory crafting about this, and a lot of research, and I've read all the data points a bunch in both games, and I've been looking at like production stuff and trying to find any breadcrumbs that I can find. I was going back and forth for a while about whether Nemesis existed when it was on Earth and if it caused the glitch, because I think the timeline was messing me up a little bit because where is it? Because Far Zenith purchased the Odyssey before the glitch happened. And so I was kind of like, that's weird. Like, why did they want the escape route so badly if the glitch hasn't happened and the world isn't ending yet? Like, we're 2061, we're still doing pretty good. Like, things have gotten significantly better and the Earth is looking like it's gonna survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did they suddenly purchase the Odyssey and decide to keep building it? Like, and clearly they needed to purchase it right then because 2065 is when they launched, and that was cutting it real close.
Yeah.
So part of me was like, did they know that something was gonna happen, and did they know that the glitch was gonna happen, and that's why they got out? And does that have something to do with Nemesis? Like, had they already done a mind upload? But I don't know. I go back and forth on that. I think I was wrong with that initial assumption. I think that, and then I think too the last quest being called Singularity was messing me up because it was Singularity obviously referred to Nemesis, but then when I was like, wait, Vast Silver is like the last data point, Vast Silver is constantly being brought up, it's always called the Singularity, like, are they trying to hint that Vast Silver is Nemesis, and like Vast Silver somehow basically hitched a ride on the ship to continue trying to wipe out people if Vast Silver is what caused the glitch and it jumped on the ship to basically finish off what it had started. I was kind of going back and forth on that, but I feel like the whole being trapped in an echo chamber with a bunch of crazy billionaires thing is like a strong enough motivation.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I think Nemesis makes sense by itself. I don't think it needed to start on the Earth. I think it works perfectly fine.
It might just be like, you know, like a very convenient coincidence for them.
Yeah.
Just be like, maybe they just wanted to go to space, you know, to be like, oh, we're gonna go build our own billionaire world.
Yeah, we have our
And then
own planet now.
And then it turned out that it actually worked in their favor because, hey, the Earth is fucked.
So I'm like, I don't know. I'm still a little bit suspicious about that timeline, but I'm like, I'm unconvincing myself of it more every day. I'm like, it was probably just...
Yeah, because it also doesn't make that much sense if they knew about it.
Yeah. So
because I mean, they had the power, you know, they had like monetary power, and like they were all like researchers or owners of like CEOs from like big companies. So like it doesn't make that much sense that if they knew about it, they will just let it be.
Yeah. So that one I've kind of talked myself down from. I was like, that was kind of it was just my first instinct because of the Singularity like connection. But then I was like, maybe Singularity isn't Vast Silver and Nemesis are the same. Maybe Singularity is mind uploads are what causes or helps AIs become more achieve sentience, basically. Because I think that there's some kind of connection between the Singularity connection. I don't think they would make such a big deal out of the word if it didn't have some kind of significance, but yeah, I've talked myself down from like such a direct connection between them because I don't know, I couldn't make the math work.
Yeah, it doesn't work out that well.
Yeah. And then I I had like a whole like I had a whole like Peter is Vast Silver is Nemesis thing, but then I was like, this is a stretch. So I took a step back and I was like, let's look at the facts. And like I want to believe like my theory is kind of my theory for the third game is really like it is very Vast Silver focused because I think that Vast Silver and Nemesis are gonna be everyone is Nordic. I think that Vast Silver and Nemesis are gonna be comparable entities, like power-wise and just like how they exist.
All the ultimate battle of AIs.
Yeah. Like I feel like they're gonna I feel like I'd like to hope that Vast Silver has kind of, after not being forced to do war and kill people for a long time after the swarm got put down, I'd like to hope it kind of like regained itself a little bit because it seemed nice. Like that was the whole thing. Is it seems like a nice boy, and so I want to believe that there is still a nice boy Vast Silver kicking around that will be kind of a part of the third game and helping against Nemesis. And I also think the fact that the person who was part of Vast Silver's creation being one of the people in Elysium, and Elysium definitely still existing somewhere, is going to be a part of it. Like we need to hunt down her knowledge to help against Nemesis. Because I think that there's too many parallels. I feel like that's going to be a big part of the third game. Hephaestus goes sicko mode. Hephaestus is still like somewhere.
Yeah, Hephaestus is still out there doing its own things, creating machines.
I love
an independent boy.
I love at the end of Zero Dawn. I think this was in our last lore stream too, and we were like, and we don't really know where Hephaestus is. It's out there somewhere, so we're probably gonna encounter it in Forbidden West, and then we do, but then now Forbidden West ended with, well, it's still out there somewhere.
It's just impossible to control.
Hephaestus is the most like, leave me alone, please. I don't want to be found.
He just wants to keep making machines.
Let me make my cool boys. Do not try and shackle me.
A very creative mind.
And that's the other thing is that, so in Forbidden West, they the way that they get a bunch of the AIs back that exploded off of Gaia is they use Aloy's, because Aloy has a matching genetic print to Elizabeth Sobek, so she can use Alpha Prime clearance. So she basically goes to Demeter and Poseidon and is like, I'm using my Alpha Prime clearance to, take you and reintegrate you into Gaia. Alpha Prime clearance doesn't work on Hephaestus. Hephaestus basically in the time where all of this is happening, reprogrammed herself to resist Alpha clearance, and that's why they have to go find Pharaoh in his bunker. They didn't know he was still alive, but they were like, oh, we can probably, find his stuff or find something so that we can get his Omega clearance, because that will still work on Hephaestus. So that's why they go find Pharaoh, and then they use Omega to try and chain Hephaestus down. But wasn't it like Hephaestus broke through that too, and so Hephaestus just isn't responding to Alpha or Omega anymore?
Yeah, because the thing is also they mention is that it's kind of lying. Instead of being in one place like the other, it's just spread around all the networks. So it's very easy to it's hard to capture it.
Yeah, it's like in the Cauldron network.
Yeah, and as you said, also, it's like all the other subroutines, when you find them, they're like, oh yeah, you know, like, take me back home, pretty much. And Hephaestus is like, nope.
No.
Nope, leave me here.
That's a good question. Which ones are we missing? So
Either, I think.
yeah.
Like, when Apollo is destroyed.
So there's an Apollo copy on the Odyssey, which is in orbit. So even though Apollo was destroyed, so that's the other thing, is that Far Zenith wanted Gaia once they learned about Zero Dawn. They wanted Gaia because they're like, oh, that would be perfect for terraforming the new world that we're going to. So they have their man on the inside basically try and steal a copy of Gaia. And Elizabeth finds out about it and is pissed and talks to her boy Travis Tate, who's like kind of her like tech guy, and is like,
best boy.
Yeah, best boy Travis Tate. And is like, yeah, sure, give him a Gaia, but give him a fake Gaia, basically. And so he basically gives them a prank Gaia that they're like, yeah, we got Gaia, and then they boot her up, and she's like, what? It ain't me. But they did legitimately give them a copy of Apollo because that was agreed upon. They straight up asked. They're like, oh, can we have a copy of Apollo so that we, have the history of Earth? And they're like, yeah, sure. And so when they gave them the fake Gaia, they were like, yeah, none of this shit works, but Apollo does, because that's what we said we'd give you. So then when the ship comes back with the Zeniths on it, and now, Aloy and everybody has access to the ship because they have a shuttle that the Zeniths left behind that can go up to the ship. Apollo is there, so they technically have an Apollo copy now for the first time. But I don't know. So Hades is gone. Silence.
The thing is also that it mentions that there's a bunch of functions that one of the subroutines that kind of did their function and then they just deleted themselves.
Yeah, I think Alethea did that.
Yeah. Minerva, I think, also, no?
Minerva, I think. Yeah, I think Minerva and Alethea, don't really exist anymore. Hades, Silence did a number on Hades. He just, managed to torture an AI to death.
Imagine.
Hades was like, I'm so fucking tired, let me go. He's like, don't let me go back to this guy. But we definitely pick up Poseidon, Demeter. Do we pick up Artemis?
I think Artemis also did itself.
Yeah.
Like it created animals, released them, and then it was like, okay, I'm done. Bye.
I'm outie.
You remember we went for Poseidon, Demeter, and Ether, maybe?
Let me Google. Let me consult the wiki. Horizon Ether. I should have done a status update. Ether. There's one of the top things is a Reddit post called "Leave Ether Alone." Whoa. And then Artemis. So Ether, detoxifying, Rinwest. Oh, you do. Okay, so you do get Ether. The Ether's return Gaia was able to stabilize atmospheric conditions, reducing the number and severity of superstorms. Okay, so Ether is back in Gaia now.
Yeah, so we've got Ether, Poseidon, Demeter.
Artemis, Far Zenith. Oh, Far Zenith captured Artemis in the Forbidden West, although this event is never expanded upon. After Far Zenith is defeated, it is shown that Artemis has been reinstated into Gaia. Okay. So, we did get Artemis back, it was just off screen because Far Zenith did it, not us.
And I'm pretty sure then it's Minerva and Alethea that are like gone. They're not around anymore.
Yeah, or if they're around, they're kind of not. They're like dormant, I guess, is the word.
Yeah, I guess. Because, I mean, they're like. They weren't really functions for them anymore.
Yeah. Like, you don't need something to brute force the swarm anymore. It's done. And we don't need to clone humans anymore or raise them.
Yeah, like all the facilities I think also are like done for, so
yeah.
It's just like, what's it gonna do? Nothing.
So we're really...
And then it's just a Festus that is like still in the wild and doing its own thing.
I was gonna say, it's really just Hephaestus we're missing. So, I'm sure that will be an important part of the game. Though I wonder how much of it is like, they can't give us Hephaestus back because it would just make Aloy and her squad too powerful.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. They can't just they have to come up with reasons to not capture Hephaestus because they need to keep adding machines and whatnot.
Because we need machines to fight against, and if Aloy had an army of machines, it would be over.
Yeah. And I think they probably just did that more for like game reasons more than lore. They gotta. It's one of those situations that they give it lore reasons just so they can keep it around, because they need it for gameplay.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, we can't have them capture Hephaestus. We need the machines being created.
Please stop praying for my grandpa. He's too strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Hephaestus. Maybe we'll get Hephaestus by like the end of the third game, especially
depends. I guess it really depends on whether they plan on doing more games or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it because I'm worried about Nemesis taking over Hephaestus, but maybe that's plot point.
I think 3 is the limit. Yeah, I think so too. I think with 3, it's gonna be good.
I think I would be like, what more is there to say?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, they already brought people from space. Like, what else are they gonna do after?
They already gave me my win.
And I like though that despite being like it's looking to be a trilogy, each game still feels like very contained in the sense that you get like a motivation, a reason, something to do, and then you go and complete it, and it's like, yeah, it's done. There's no like real cliffhangers of that, or cliffhangers in the sense of like, oh no, we didn't manage to solve this. Tune in to the next game to know how we're gonna solve this. It's like, no, they resolve each main plot point in like that the game is focused on, at least. So like the first one was the whole thing with like Gaia and like Hades, and like that gets resolved. And then they just leave the thing like, oh, but Hades actually Silence got him, to be like, ooh, what's gonna happen? And then the second one there's the whole thing with like the plants going out of control, and then they like Farsinit comes back and blah blah blah, and then that also gets resolved, and now we just get the Nemesis threat that we find out that it's coming, but like that gives like an entire plot point to do like the next game without leaving us like hanging, because it's like they still give like satisfying endings to each plot point that they do.
Like you feel like the main part of the game is resolved, and then you're like, oh wait, there's this thing I really want to know how it's gonna go in the next game, but it's not like the main driving force of the game. You're not left hanging.
Yeah, exactly. It's like like the main threat was here was Farsinid, and we spend the game like fighting them and finding out what their goals are, blah blah blah, and then by the end you defeat them, and like in the road to defeat them, you learn about Nemesis. But it's like, but you defeat Farsinid. So it's like, okay, now we know something's fag is coming, but like the main, what's the word I'm looking for? The main,
antagonist or
the main conflict.
Conflict.
Yeah, the main conflict of like the game is resolved. It's like, okay, we dealt with Farsinid and we solved like the atmospheric issues. So like the Earth is not dying. Yay!
Yay! And you beat the bullshit boss Spectre Prime.
Yeah! Oh, that boss was such bullshit. I had to look up a guide on how to fight it.
God, it was so hard. And I ground out the arena too, so I had all the crazy shit, and I was still getting my ass beat. And I was like, why?
I had to look up like how people fought it. These people that are just like insane at the game. And I was like, okay, how do you do it? What am I doing wrong? And then I was like, okay. And then I managed to beat it.
I just put my entire body behind my explosion slingshot. I was like, this is the only way.
The thing is that also there was an attack that I couldn't avoid, but then like watching the video I realized that I just had to be like 20 kilometers away from it to avoid the attack, and I was like, oh, okay. I just have to be like at the other end of the arena so it doesn't hit me. I understand.
She just wants her waifu back. We can all relate.
But yeah, it's so fun when you see like it's so crazy when you see the people that are like insanely good at the game, and you just see them defeat all these crazy monsters without getting hit, and you're like, how?
Yeah, when I see high-level Horizon players, I'm like, this doesn't even look like the same game to me.
Yeah, like, goddamn.
I'm playing incorrectly.
Clearly, I'm bad at games. Thank you.
I'm gonna keep playing incorrectly, but now I have to know that this exists.
Yeah, exactly. Like now I know there's people that are older that are actually super good at the game, and how to live with that knowledge.
Part of me still wants to, like, I platinumed it. But part of me still is like, oh, I could upgrade more things, and then I have to talk myself down and be like, you platinumed it, you dumb bitch. Just you have so many games to play.
Yeah, I didn't platinum this one because it's like it's way bigger than the first platinum of the first game. So I didn't, but I was looking for the black boxes. I can't remember if I found them all.
They were like one of my favorite parts about the game, actually, because they were so raw.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
So both Horizon games have a lot of collectibles in them, but the second game's collectibles, one of the collectibles are these black boxes that you can scavenge from downed airplanes, mostly like military airplanes, and they have recordings of basically Operation Enduring Victory, and so they have recordings of like the pilots in the planes kind of confronting the swarm, or being like, we know that this is a like we're about to launch a suicide attack. So here's, our last thoughts. It's really, they're like really intense.
Yeah.
And then
also,
you can...
did you find in the well, you go back to the base, you can find like a secret room with like some like recordings of like the people that work there.
Yeah.
They're
Like
like,
in the
oh, we
basement?
just wanted. Yeah. Then they're like, oh, we just wanted to leave, like our memories or whatever for like, just like, a proof that we were here kind of thing. And it's like, damn.
Then you can also collect ornaments that you can change into different holidays over Las Vegas. Same game.
I love the Las Vegas exploration.
You can make it Halloween over Las Vegas. You can make it Christmas over Las Vegas. You can put a little shamrock action for St. Patty's Day.
Very important.
I just remember when I first started getting I was like, what the heck are these ornaments? And then as soon as I realized it was cosmetics for Las Vegas, I was like, game of the year.
Hell yeah.
It's like, I love that my two collectibles list are like gut-wrenching final words of like people on a suicide mission, and here's a fun Valentine's Day sky ornament.
Do you all have a favorite machine? Did you have a favorite machine, Maple?
What I didn't like was the Apex bats.
Oh yeah, the bats. Oh god.
Just the worst. But my least favorite machine were the Apex bats. My favorite, I kind of liked the bears that we got, like the big grizzly type dudes. They were brutal, but they weren't they weren't like annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I like big, like I like big fire grizzly bears.
I'm like, it's funny because I hate having to fight the birds, like any bird machine. But I just love how they look, and how if you look at them, when they're like moving their wings, you can kind of see like how all the machinery moves, and I'm just like, that's a good shit.
There's so much detail in how the machines are designed too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're like so detailed in like, oh, that's how this part moves this thing, and I like the what was the Vegas boss? What type of...
Oh, the underwater.
Yeah, but it wasn't like one of the crocodiles. The Tide Ripper.
Yeah,
I like those guys. I thought those were cool. They look more like dinosaurs than like a...
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the dinosaur machines though. Like, I really like the Thunder U as well. It's just like from an oldie from the first game, but like a classic.
Now I'll pull up machine images.
I also really like the tall necks. They seem so peaceful. They just kind of walk around. And climbing them is so fun. Yeah.
They give me the map, which is my favorite part.
I got the tall neck Lego.
Oh my god. I actually got the board game, which is built around, it's a co-op board game, I think. I haven't actually played it yet, but I think it's a co-op board game, and it's built more around the hunting lodge system. Like you're trying to upgrade your yourself and complete like hunting lodge missions. Look at that beast.
Oh yeah, that looks amazing.
Oh my god. And like all the little parts move.
Yeah, how the trunks move. Oh, I also have I got the collector's edition, so I have the figurine of the figure of the thing.
Oh my god.
It's great. Have a Ghost Rider plushie. Me too. It was a birthday gift from yours truly, right here. Or a Christmas gift. I don't remember, but it was a gift.
I was gonna say, what was it? He's so cute though.
Yeah.
So cute for a Claw Strider. I do like the little I like the little red eye guys too. Just they're always like
Oh, the basic ones, the spotters. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the name, but yeah, the Watchers. Yeah, the Watchers. The I think it's the Tolnik logo comes with like a little Watcher logo.
it's so cute. I just like how they stand up. They're like little prairie dog guys. They're just like
Yeah. It's kind of stand up and look. I also really like. This is a game mechanic from the first game that I didn't realize until I read it later. But like how the machines kind of evolve if you kill them too much.
wait, really?
Yeah. So like the Watchers, like their weak point was the eye. So they will get like protection around its eye. As you progressed.
Didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that. I played the crap out of both games. Look at this lad. Wait. This looks like he's standing in the room. He's so
like
cute.
It really feels like Hephaestus is like, adapting and doing things. Because like if you kill too many of one machine, that machine will like start getting stronger.
That's so cool. And I guess that's another reason that we can't ever capture Hephaestus, because she's a game mechanic. Should be standing outside in the background.
Yeah, why don't you have a Watcher who's permanently in your background? Hmm?
There we go. It's not that big. It's a small boy.
He's gonna be there now.
He's just looking at it. He's like, hey. Excuse me.
He wants to see which books you have there.
What are you reading? Do you have any thoughts on the Hunger Games trilogy? What do you think about Suzanne's YA writing?
We need to free her.
We gotta get her out. We gotta get her out of there. I'm like probably like 150, maybe 200 pages into the prequel, and I just have so many thoughts already. I'm like,
but you understand now why I went and I watched the movie of the prequel, and I'm just like, okay, no, we need to free this woman from like YA jail. Like she can't keep doing this.
She can't keep getting away with this. I was just like, every time they drop cool world information, I'm like, God, that makes so much sense. That's such cool world building. It fits so perfectly. Oh, that's so logical. And then like any character blushes at any other character, and I'm like, I can't live like this.
Oh, and they all have the worst taste. Like they're like all the worst relationships ever. Like they just. I'm just like, where is the chemistry? Where is the build up to this romance? Why is this here? Why is this even here? The world is at war.
I need to save the image that I sent you. You need to save the image that I sent you in Discord the other day. It's like so.
But yeah, no, like I was starting to have those thoughts like after thinking back on the original trilogy, but then as I watched the prequel movie, and I was like, no, we can't let this woman write romance. Just let her write worlds, you know, world building and like war and conflict. But no, keep her away from romance.
Like
she's not good at it.
Like I'm a disgusting PETA stan, so I was like quietly celebrating my own victory, but I was also like, I don't know how earned this was. Like it didn't feel good to win. It didn't feel good to win. I was like, I won, but at what cost?
Exactly.
This is what I said the other day. This is the main character from the prequel book, or one of the main characters from the prequel book.
She's the main girl that gets interested in the main boy because this is young adult writing.
And the main boy is just the worst.
He's just like the worst human possible.
I was like, every time she's like, she gets in her feelings about him, I'm like, I can't. Like, he disrespected Finnick. I can't live like this.
Wait until you progress. It gets I don't know if it gets worse or better or worse. It's all that romance plot point is an absolute mess.
I definitely have a son in the prequel, and I just know that he's done for. because he's like too nice and too naive and has too optimistic an outlook on people, and I'm like, well, that's a surefire sign he is done for this world.
Yep.
But I'm like waiting for it, but I'm bracing myself because I'm like, I'm really gonna have to watch this whole ass romance subplot for this dude who's definitely gonna betray and kill my son, and then I'm gonna have to be okay with it.
And it's 3 parts. It's 3 parts of story.
I can't. Suzanne, blink twice if you need help. Her world is so good.
Oh, the world building is so good. Like the world is so interesting, and we're stuck with this.
I want like her Silmarillion. I want her to write me like a world guide. I don't even need there to be like characters. Just write me like the logistics of everything about your world, and I'll be the happiest person on planet Earth. Just don't make me read a romance about Coriolanus Snow. I will kill him myself.
An encyclopedia Eorzea, but like of the Hunger Games world.
Yeah.
Just world history and lore.
Yeah. I would be fine. I would be so, and like I said, I really got through the romance in the first 3 books off the strength of my love for PETA alone. So I'm like, it's not working for me in the prequel book because I'm like, I hate this guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the worst because you already hate that guy, and then you have to see him be a teenager in quote unquote love, and it's like, why should I care about this? I got through the romance in the first trilogy also because I read it when I was closer to like the target audience age. So I was kind of into it. But like now I think back on it and you're like, oh god, that was awful.
I think I read the first one in 2012. I read the first 2 actually. I read Hunger Games and Catching Fire in 2012. And So I was closer to the age as well, and I was like, this is it. This is the shit. I'll die for PETA. And then I think reading Mockingjay 10 years later, over 10 years later, I was like, I still love PETA, but I don't know if this I don't know about this, Suzanne.
Yeah, no, I read them when they released, I think, or at least Mockingjay. I remember I was waiting for it. And well, I was a big Gale fanboy, but then he kind of went kind of insane, and I was like, okay, no, I can't support this boy anymore.
He's like, I'm not defined by my war crimes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, honey.
He committed a few war crimes, and I was like, oh no.
Katniss is like, I don't think you should commit war crimes. And he was like, we can have a couple as a treat. And I was like, okay. Okay, buddy.
He really went the deep end. And then Peter, I never liked Peter much. I always found him boring. And then, like, watching the movies. I was watching the movies like a few months back, I think, with a few friends. And I was like, oh man, this guy was like emotional manipulation master. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. I had forgotten about this.
That's why I love him. Because he seems like such a normie, and then you put him in any situation and he's like, I can work with this. I love that he's just like quietly the goat of handling stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, man, I did not remember this guy was such like a little manipulative bastard. Like, wow, that's kind of amazing, actually.
Yeah, like when
considering he used to make bread.
he goes out and he's like, yeah, it's just really too bad about the whole thing. And they're like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, with the baby, and everyone freaks out. And Haymitch is like, the baby bomb was brilliant. And Peter's just like, I was like, that's my boy. Is I could fix them a real infatuation phenomenon? I'm living proof that it is.
The book lady also is. But yeah, I need to see your thoughts as you progress, because then I just watch the movie, so I know where things are going. I may not have all the details, but I know how things end, and I need to have your reactions to the things that are going to happen.
Oh God, I've been crushing it, so I'll continue to crush it because I want to watch the movie, and I think it's on streaming now. So I was like,
it might be.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll finish the book real quick, watch the movie, then go on Tumblr and have a million thoughts.
Hunger Games stream when in which we just send signals to Suzanne Collins that if she needs rescue, we're here.
I'm just gonna put like a subliminal message hidden throughout the movie. Suzanne, if you're watching. Hunger Games movie night. So there's 5 movies? Because there's 4 for the original trilogy and then the new one.
Yeah. And the new one is long.
Yeah.
It's long. Like, I want to watch it to the cinemas.
It might be like
I just have the gut feeling that they adapted the book like really good. Just because as a movie, it kind of falls down in the second half, because like things in the part 2, things kind of slow down and they kind of start like the entire build up again. So it kind of worked out to a climax, and then it just kind of dropped again to like a build up to something, and it just felt very, very kind of weird for a movie.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, okay, I see how this could have worked in the book, because it's going from part 1 to part 2, but it feels really weird for a movie because you're building all this excitement and then just everything just kind of calms down. for like 40 minutes or so before things start happening again.
Yeah, I'm like at the part of the book where things are starting to kind of go awry. Like one of the girls just got her throat slashed over a sandwich. And I was like,
Oh,
let's go.
okay. Oh, you're there. All right. Yeah, I remember that.
It's like things are starting to fall apart. Let's go.
Let's go. Uh,
Hunger Games movie. And I will do it. I will hyperfixate this entire chat into watching all of the Hunger Games films. Don't test me.
you need to see the world building that's hidden under the awful romance plot.
I'll pause every 2 seconds and be like, this is different in the book because... Back to the YA minds. It's where I live.
Did anyone here get on into Percy Jackson? Oh, I love the Percy Jackson books.
I didn't read them.
You should read them. They're good.
And
they're easy to read. They're made for ADHD brains. They're very simple in like the writing, but they're still being good, you know?
I
just
got Maze Runner from the library.
Ooh.
To read once I'm done with the Hunger Games prequel, because I love the Maze Runner movies, and I was like, I feel like if because I like the Hunger Games movies and I like the Hunger Games books, but I like them differently, and I was like, oh, if I feel that way about the Maze Runners movies, I'll probably get something different out of the books and I'll be really into it. So I was like, okay, I'll get this so I can have it for like my flight and everything.
Yeah, the Hunger Games movies are actually pretty good.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
It's like yeah, like especially the first one, since they're shorter. It's like, okay, yeah, they don't really follow the book to the letter, but like they're really good as movies.
Yeah,
they work really well.
Apparently, Suzanne was involved. I'm Suzanne
Of course
maxing right
when will Suzanne be free of YA jail?
Never read Percy or Hunger Games or Twilight. I did start reading Twilight. I started reading the first Twilight book. And I got to the scene, like I got through like half of the book, but I got to the scene where they go out into the forest. And he's like, I need to show you something. And he like steps into the sunlight and starts sparkling. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I stopped reading it.
Yeah, do not torture yourself with Twilight. I can tell you how it ends.
I mean,
you just want...
I've seen all the movies.
Oh, okay, then you know how it ends.
Yeah.
It's not worth.
Yeah.
It's not worthy.
No.
Like the book's not better.
I wound up watching all the movies because I had friends who were really into it, and they were like, let's watch the movies, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, man, I love all of these actors and I just feel really bad for them.
Apparently they all hated the movie.
Yeah, that's the funniest. Like any interview with Robert Pattinson, he's like, these just seem like books that shouldn't have been written.
They shouldn't. They truly shouldn't.
Watch me do a pro gamer move.
And like those also, like I read them all because also back then I was a target audience. But then I look back at them and they're like, these books were like absolute trash. Not only in the plot, but like the writing is like so far and everything. It's just
good.
like, how did this launch like a saga like this?
Like I tried really hard because I'm a trash enjoyer, and so I was like, I know that I'll get into it maybe if I just keep going, but I just couldn't with the sparkling. It was just bothered me. I was like, something about this is where I draw the line. So I still have it sitting around somewhere.
No, just burn it.
It's only
Throw
the
it into the
first one.
fire.
It's only the first one. Fortunately.
When a fanfic author gets their book published. No, wait a second. Wait a second there. I've read fanfics that have much better writing than Twilight.
That's true. I'm embarrassed. I found that somebody has written all 3 of the Hunger Games trilogy books from Peter's perspective.
Oh my god.
They're full length, like almost 100,000 words each.
Damn.
They have like almost 1 million hits on Archive of Our Own. And I'm gonna read all of them.
Yeah. You gotta respect the commitment.
I just saw it and I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is what I need, I guess.
It was made for you.
This is my hole. It was made for me.
Have you read, now that we're talking about books, have you read A Darker Shade of Magic?
No.
You should read it. It's not YA.
Oh.
Like it still has romance, but it's actually well written.
Darker Shade of Magic. Adult fantasy novel. I just got so I own all of the Hunger Games books, but I didn't know I was gonna like it. Like, I was at like a really weird point in my life when I started reading. Because I started reading them. I don't know when Hunger Games came out, but I started reading it in 2012. I think that's when the first movie came out, because I think that's why I heard people liked the movie, and I was like, oh, I'll read the books first. But I don't know if I've like talked about it on stream before. I'm trying to think of how to word it. I wasn't like ready. I was like, oh, I want to get a job in the games industry, but I need to move to California for that. And so I was trying to like save up and plan my move and everything. And then my grandpa passed away, and he lived in California, and my parents bought us tickets to go out for Grandpa's memorial, and they didn't buy me tickets home.
Oh.
They were like, oh, this is like the swift kick out the door that you need to, you know, take the next step in your adult life. And I was like, I'm not like ready for this. And they were like, that sucks. Nobody's ready to be an adult.
Damn.
So we got out there, and I stayed, but I didn't really have like a place to live. And so I was pretty much like that sudden tone shit. Well, it's like, I don't know. It's, at the time I was like, this is a disaster. And now that I've survived it, I'm like, this is kind of a funny anecdote that I lived through. But like at the time I was pretty much like rotating between sleeping on different relatives' couches and like making friends and seeing if I could like, you know, stay a couple nights at different friends' houses and stuff. And it was very much like I was in my survival phase.
Damn.
Like, I am just trying to have a place to sleep and perhaps be able to afford something more than like crackers and showing up at my grandma's looking hungry. And so I that was when I read Hunger Games for the first time, actually, because I didn't have anything else to do. Like I I obviously didn't have a TV or like any of my. I had my 3DS, but that was it. And I and so I got Hunger Games. I think I might have even picked up in the airport bookstore. Like I picked it up in the airport bookstore on the way out. I was like, "Oh, the movie just came out. Yeah, I kind of want to see it, so I guess I'll get this because I don't have any electronics, and I just need something to do." And so I crushed the whole book in like 3 days or something because I was like, this is all I have. But because I picked it up in the airport bookstore, I got like the trade paperback, the like small.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like really thick version. And then it was like later on when I kind of started to get my feet under myself and start like I started getting like some freelance gigs and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I'll buy Catching Fire, and I actually bought the proper hardcover for Catching Fire and Mockingjay because I knew that I liked it at that point after reading the first one, but I never bought the original Hunger Games like full-size hardcover version because it just like never occurred to me to go buy a second copy to match my other two. And so I treated myself the other day when I finally finished Mockingjay. I went and I ordered the hardcover version of the first book so that I have a matching set of the three of them now.
Let's go.
But
I love hardcovers.
Yeah, they look so classy.
Yeah.
But I also when I was book shopping and I was like, oh, okay, I'll buy this. There's a series that I've been trying to get from the library for like months. And like I feel like every woman in my state wants to read it, and so the waiting list is just a mile long, and I was like, what is happening? Like, we don't even have that many people here. And like every woman in the state wants to read this book. So I wound up buying the physical copy of it off Amazon because I was just like, I just need to get it. Have you read A Throne of Glass?
It sounds familiar. Like I probably have seen it at the bookstore.
Yeah, I bought that because they had it was on sale. It was like almost 50% off, but they had a really nice hardcover version. And I was like, I know like all my friends like it. I know I'm going to like it. And apparently every woman in the state wants to read it as well. So I am just going to give into the nightmare and buy it.
The thing that the thing that about like women wanting to read it just kind of makes me sus.
I've heard that I forgot how my friend described it. My friend who I have like very similar tastes to was like, I forgot how she described it.
The story follows the journey of Sigurlina Sardothin, a teenage assassin in a corrupt kingdom with a tyrannical ruler. I see. Is the Throne of Glass series spicy? I see. Why is this a regular question that people ask?
And there it is. I got to read the preview that they have for the ebook. So I read the preview, and the main character is like a huge asshole, and I was like, I love it immediately. She's just like always like dunking on everyone, and I was like, yes, I understand. I shall buy the book.
I feel like you might like Darker Shade of Magic series and Mortal Engines.
Hold on, wait, what was the second one?
Mortal Engines.
Oh, I've heard of that. I've heard I would like it.
Mostly because Mortal Engines especially has a lot of world.
Let me look at my library app.
Mortal Engines has a movie too. The movie's okay. It's nice. It's very cool for the effects.
Aha! Oh, my library just has the audiobook. I can live with that.
Mortal Engines is this world with like literally moving cities. They're like giant tanks.
Darker shade of magic.
And
Placehold. Uh-oh.
and Darker Shade of Magic, it's about like parallel universe stuff and magic and things.
20 people in line for it. Oh my god.
Oh, just buy them. They have very nice hardcovers.
20 people. It's gonna take forever. Okay, yeah, well, hold on, let me. Amazon.com. Oh, here you go. Ooh. Oh, that is a nice hardcover.
Yeah, no, they're very nice.
Like this is the book shopping stream now.
It's just, you can't talk about lore and then just don't not talk about books. This is why we're nerds, guys. We like to read.
Is it 20 people total or 20 people in front of me? So, and when you borrow at my library, it's for 2 weeks on certain books and 3 weeks on other books. So 2 to 3 times 20.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I will buy it.
Yeah, no, Darker Shade of Magic for me was really one of those things that now, like, every book the author releases, I buy it, like, instantly.
Oh, there's more than one.
Yeah, it's a trilogy, and now it's getting a sequel trilogy. Set a few years after, with new protagonists.
I got recommended. I'm trying to think of the other stuff I was getting recommended the other day. I got recommended Red Rising, I think, and then what was the other one? Asimov's Foundation. I want to read Foundation. Papa Moose is a huge Foundation fan. He loves Foundation.
Is Red Rising inappropriate? What are these questions that people ask?
Why are all my books spicy? It's not intentional. Oh, I also picked up what's it called? It's like it's been all over Barnes and Noble, like, oh, there it is. I got Fourth Wing. I picked up Fourth Wing, which apparently is super spicy. But it's like so popular.
Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing is a 2023 new adult fantasy novel by American author Rebecca Yarros. It is the first book in the Empyrean series, released on May 2, 2023. The novel achieved various success on TikTok's reader community. I see. How spicy is Fourth Wing? This is a book with spicy scenes. One reviewer attacked this book as being a stop with useless sex scenes. I see.
I don't know, just like my book friends are all like, I don't know if I'm the degenerate or my book friends are the degenerates.
I mean, consider you get recommended this stuff, I'll say your friends are. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for now. You just have weird taste in men.
Innocent until proven guilty, that's true. I can fix them. We don't smut shame. I
Oh, also for Ridley that asked a while ago. Yeah, from South America. So accent.
I I I'm trying to think if there's anything that would absolve me, but I don't know if there is. Oh, I've been reading The Fifth Wave. As well. I've been reading that for a while now. I've been going super slow on it, but
The fifth
it's the fifth wave is not spicy
wave.
yet.
The fifth wave book. And what is the fifth wave book about?
Is it spicy?
Is the fifth wave inappropriate? Is the fifth wave book clean?
God damn it!
It contains a high level of physical violence. It's PG-13 for violence and destruction. And language. And brief teen partying. Damn.
Yo, brief teen partying.
Hey, yo!
I haven't hit that yet.
Oh no, it's him.
I can fix him. Let's put his picture back there. Jump scared. The Watcher's looking at him. It's like, oh girl, your taste. This is disappointing for all of us.
That's why it's keeping watch.
Can we talk about Dragon Age?
She has a whole stream about it.
Hold on. 1 second. That's the funniest question you could have asked.
Don't get her started.
Talk about Dragon Age lore. Is water wet?
Don't get her started or she'll start going off about the elf ghosts. I love how it's behind the Watcher image.
Those are my watermarks so people don't steal. Original. It's my timeline. Here's the map that I made up for everybody. Here's the this is a quick preview of what's to come. There's still a few sections that I'm continuing to build out a little bit. Yeah, like this has there's some filler in here where I need to type. But how many slides is this? Hold on, we're about to find out. We are about to find out, boys. He's so beautiful. Anyway.
How many perfixations can we fit in one stream? You know, I mean, we went through the Horizon lore pretty quickly, so we gotta fill up the space now.
I have. So I'm just gonna scroll because otherwise it's gonna take fucking forever. There you go. I have
List of people with elf ghosts inside of them.
I have exactly 100 slides. exactly 100 slides to talk about everything I think about Dragon Age. So, like, that Maple's my workmate on a business proposal.
Do not mention the DR game.
June 7th, 2024 at the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles, California. How are your friends doing? They're here. Kuduko heard them earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, can you hear these
they
assholes?
brought her some soup.
Yeah. I was like, I told them, I was like, I'm gonna go stream, so I was like, you can hang out, but don't yell or anything. And then they were like, we're gonna make soup. And they were like banging around in the kitchen super loud. And I was like, please. They stopped.
But the soup was good.
Yeah, the soup was very good. They stopped like right before I started streaming, so they timed it perfectly. Super loud. Just bros making soup. I keep hearing them talking downstairs, but I don't think they've been loud enough to get picked up on like before the
I haven't heard them at least.
Yeah. Before the stream they were going wild and I was like, guys, please. Treadwolf ain't coming out! Just
Why will you say that?
Don't you see my list of people with elf ghosts inside of them? How could Treadwolf not come out after that? I remember when don't pin it. I remember when I think it was an Outer Wilds stream, everybody gaslit me into thinking that a Dreadwolf cancellation announcement had come out.
Oh no.
And I was like deeply upset and freaking out on stream. I don't even know. I think it was Koji who started it.
Of course. Of course it was.
And I was having like a legitimate meltdown. I forgot somebody was like, do we tell her? And I was like, wait a minute. I was like actually upset. Got him. You're still on copium yet? I'm gonna be on it till June 7th, 2024 at the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles, California. That's the day the copium dies. That's when I start getting real desperate.
Anyway, I should really go to bed. So I'll have to go to ramblings short.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here before the Dragon Age goes any further.
Yeah, exactly. That is the sign that I need to leave.
I need to buy these books real quick.
I feel like you like them. Hopefully you like them. If you like them, let me know.
I think I will. Are they spicy? Because apparently that's a requirement to recommend me a book.
No.
A classic work of fantasy.
They have like maybe one implied spicy scene in like the entire series of books.
Wait, I don't know if there's a new hardcover version coming out. Title will be released on May 14th, 2024.
For which one?
The first book. A Darker Shade of Magic. Aha!
Oh.
There's a different... Oh, you can get like a box set of the hardcovers. Interesting.
Yeah. You can get them all together.
Book buying stream now.
Woohoo! I will forever shield Darker Shade of Magic. It just changed my perspective on books. I couldn't go back to young adult for a while after.
You're gonna cure me. You're gonna make me even more desperate to save Suzanne.
Yeah. Yep.
Gonna go on a journey. I don't know. I fall into the YA trap a lot because I'm like, oh, these are really interesting, and then they don't go as far as I want, and I'm like, what did I expect?
It's young adult, Maple.
I can't go as far as I want them to because it's inappropriate. That's what this is for. I say, clicking on the trilogy.
Also, aside from a few authors, I've also kind of stopped reading books written by American authors.
You know what? That's fair. Where is V.E. Schwab from?
No, that's what I say, except from a few authors. She's one of the exceptions.
What cutting words?
Because she was before I bought I got some books that my sister got recommended from I think they're still technically American, but they're everyone is from other descents, so or Chinese descent or Korean descent.
Yeah.
So they have a different writing style and storytelling methods, storytelling way, in my opinion. So after I read one, I kind of was like, okay, I want people, I want to read books from people that are not white.
Well, you don't want to read my best-selling rambling trilogy about which is just the Hunger Games from Peeta's perspective, but also has things about elf ghosts in it. My hit novel coming to Amazon self-publish in 2 weeks.
I don't know. I may make an exception for you, but
have you read it?
Usually when I go to the bookstore and I see a book that may look interesting and I see the author is a very white person name, I'm like, okay, no, I'm not touching that.
James Patterson. Tom Clancy. Have you read World War Z?
I haven't read it, no.
It's kind of it's one of my favorite world building books because it's not like a what's the word for it? It's not like it is a story, but it's not a narrative, I guess. It's not following a character doing things. It's basically a journalist is going around interviewing people after the zombie apocalypse was handled. They handled the zombie apocalypse. Then this journalist is basically going around interviewing people about their experiences during it. And so it's just a bunch of people's testimony to what happened to them during the zombie apocalypse. It's so good.
Oh, that sounds good. I should look it up then.
It's so good.
Speaking of good books, I need you to voice your opinion publicly about This Is How You Lose the Time War.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I finished it the other day and I was like,
yeah.
The when you start realizing things and you start looking back at chapters and you're like, I was like, oh, it's so good. This is how you lose the time war. Highly recommended.
Highly recommend. Remember the book that got viral because of that one person?
You mean Dickolas Wolfwood?
Yep.
Or Nicholas Dickolas or something.
Twitter user Nicholas Nicholas.
I was on my
Notorious Trigun fan.
it was on my list for a while, and I was like, oh, I should really read that, and then it kept kind of slipping down my list. And then I actually saw you retweet somebody being like, just fucking read it. And I was like, you know what? Like, okay, I just do it. And so I went and I started reading it and I was like, this shit rules!
Yeah, no, I remember it was like, I got the quote from like a random picture on the internet. And I was like, I just need everyone to know that Nicholas was absolutely right.
Nicholas Dickless with a Wolfwood avatar was life changing.
Let me look up the quote because it's Nicholas. That they were simply like, read these. Do not look up anything about it. Just read it. It's only like 200 pages. You can download it on Audible. It's only like 4 hours. Do it right now. I'm very extremely serious.
It was so fast. It flew by. Dickless.
And then they have a follow-up tweet that's like, grabs you personally by the throat. You will do this for me. You will go to the counter at Barnes and Noble. You will buy this. I will be greatly rewarded. But they were absolutely right.
I love when I think it was one of the authors came out and was like, this tweet like changed things.
Yeah. One of the authors was like, wow, because the book actually they went so viral that everyone bought it, and I think it got shot up to like one of the bestsellers.
Yeah, and it got like a reprint and everything. It's like a big deal. I was like, oh my
And they were like, damn, guess I gotta watch Trigun now. Here, I do not understand what is happening, but I am incomprehensibly grateful to Bigolas Nicolas. Tweeted from one of the authors.
I'm incomprehensibly grateful to Bigolas Dickless. Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, no, I remember because I mean that incident, I bought it like way after, but like that incident just ran free on my head, and we were in Vegas buying books to read on the flight back, because when we didn't bring anything to do on the flight to Vegas, and we kind of got bored. So we stopped by a Barnes and Noble, and we're like, yeah, let's get some books, like a short book. And I stumbled upon it, and I was like, oh my god, it's the book recommended by Bigolas Nicolas. So I was like, you know what? It's short. Let's get it. And then I was like, holy shit, this is so good.
It was so good. And it was so short, and I'm like, I know that it's short because you told your story and you didn't want to overstay your welcome, but I would take more if you had it.
Yeah. And it's so good. And the way it's written and the writing in itself, it was also one of those things that for my non-native English speaker brain, I couldn't really read too much in one go because it was like so poetic, I guess you could say, like
it's
so much
very
prose and
dense.
stuff. I was like, I will read like 3 or 4 quote unquote chapters, and I'll be like, okay, no, I need to stop now because I can notice my brain starting to melt with all these big words.
Yeah,
But it was so good.
It's very dense and like introspective, like
Yeah.
talking about how certain things feel, and it's like it does it in such a like beautiful and really good way, but then it's also it's a little bit mind melting because you're like, and then you're like, I found I listened to the audiobook and I kept finding myself rewinding because like there would be a sentence and I would be like, oh, like that's such an amazing sentence and that's totally exactly how this thing feels and oh, I love comparing it to that and oh, like that's such a, and then I would realize that I hadn't been listening to like the last 3 sentences. So I would rewind because I was like, damn it, I got distracted by how much I liked the sentence.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I also like that it's written in a very interesting way because they don't really tell you about the world like at all. They just kind of drop you into things that are happening, and like they start showing you things, and you just kind of have to like piece together how things work from like what information you get.
Yeah. And there's so much stuff too where I'm like, are they saying this literally or is this like metaphorical? And yeah, I was like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So good.
I want to read Iron Widow.
I've heard
my sister has told me it's really good.
Yeah.
It's from a Chinese Canadian author.
Yeah, I've heard it's super good.
Yeah, and also they're very silly. The author, they're a very big Yu-Gi-Oh fan. Also,
can they read?
They can write.
How can you write if you can't read?
But also, yeah, my sister was reading it. I don't think she finished it, but she told me it was like really good from what she read.
Yeah, I've seen the book a few times when I was like book shopping, and I was like, oh, I've heard this is good, and it's also just like a pretty hardcover, so I'm always like tempted.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I have it. It's so good. Like it looks so good. And also, I follow the author on Twitter. They just like I love seeing the tweets sometimes. Like their YouTube shorts promoting their book.
Now I just really want to read.
And they also released another book that's very, they themselves said it's very like Percy Jackson meets Yu-Gi-Oh, but like Chinese kind of thing.
Huh.
And I'm like, okay, I'm sold.
Say less. Now I'm on my reading sicko shit now.
I need to do another reading stream. I haven't found time for it. To just sit and read and force people to read.
This is time we're setting aside. Bring your book and get it together.
But yeah, books.
Books, man.
Books.
I can let you sleep. I managed to derail us onto a huge book rant. In the back of my mind, I'm like, she said she wanted to go to sleep, but I love talking about
It's
books.
fun. We should. It's one of those things that I feel like we could have perfectly like planned, just like book stream, book talk, talking about books. And we could just be here. But I guess we did it now.
Book thoughts. Yeah, I was gonna say this is the preview stream.
But yeah, it is bedtime.
What Cuddy was.
So thank you for giving me the lore for Horizon 3. I shall await the game expectantly now.
Look forward to Vast Silver.
That you clearly did not shadow write.
Look forward to Vast Silver. Look forward to
Be careful with the gorilla snipers.
Stay away from my windows this evening. Get the shades down. Look forward to more Mind uploads.
Hell yeah.
It's more
I can't wait for Horizon 3.
Some Elysium. If I'm not right this time, I'm gonna have to fake my death, but I'm fairly confident about something.
If you're not right this time, it's because they did it on purpose, because they saw what you did to the second game and they were like, oh no, shit.
us out. They're
She
watching
did it
right
again. We
now.
need to change the entire game.
Yeah, they didn't have enough warning last time. This time they have plenty of warning so they can mess with me. Got witnesses all over. Spies in chat. I'm just gonna put my shades down over here. Let's play it safe. They're in the trees. Yeah, thank you for coming and discussing the lore with me.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. And I really feel like after we read some more books, we catch up with our book backlog. I do think it will be fun to discuss books. To have just a book stream.
I need to do, maybe that's what I'll do this week. While my friends are trying to get me to go have fun with them. I need to read.
But yeah, thank you. And I'll like, I don't know, I'll head out or you will end stream. I don't know.
I'll end the stream.
What are we doing? How are we ending this?
I'll end the stream. I'm bad at ending the stream, but I'll end the stream. Forcing my hand.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. I will see you guys next week. Do you have a stream tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm playing Reverse Collapse.
Oh, I need to play that.
You need to play it. It's so good.
I want to play
it's
it
so good.
So go watch Kuriko play Reverse Collapse tomorrow. And have a good rest of your night, or your morning, or your afternoon, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Congrats on knowing the entire plot of Horizon 3 now.
Woohoo!
And Otsu Dick. Otsu Silver! That's better!